Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 488. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Green team. No, for
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Brian Manjoma.
They got games.
And joining us for his very special occasion, he has returned, people, Mr. Adam Vale.
What up, internet bitches? This is it. Gears for lucky.
Gears is back, man. It's back. Yeah,
It's coming back.
But there's already people in the chat going crazy. Let's just get into it, man. You already know what we're talking about. So jumping right in. So the first question is for Mob Hits, but this is also a question that he calls himself Red Death now. Fucking Jay Shep and Duke Mega ask, did the Xbox Game Showcase create momentum for the brand? / is all forgiven for Xbox after the showcase, and will people forget all the bad news of the past month? So yeah, let's get into it. The Xbox Showcase was today, Xbox Game Showcase to be specific, and we had thoughts. Adam, you haven't been on for a while, man. So what are your overall thoughts, man?
Yeah. All right. So a lot going on. Like you said, it's been a while. I still follow it, people. I didn't just fall off, but it's life. But anyway. It's interesting because we live in a bubble. We've always talked about it. The people, the community, whether it's just not even Twitter, but the internet, we're sleuths, we're looking around, getting news. We know who Phil Spencer is. Talk to a casual, they don't know who the hell that is. So for the casuals that are just out there buying games, this was fantastic because you saw that big Game Pass. For parents that are like, damn, what do? I want to get my kids something. All these games, day one Game Pass. That seems like a deal right there. That Call of Duty, my kid and his friends want Game Pass. I don't have to pay $70. That seems like a deal. Yes, we know with all the layoffs, all the other closings and stuff, yeah, there's a downside. Will we forget? No, we won't forget because we see it in our faces. We know people that work at these places. It's more relevant to us. But for those that are just jumping in to just play some games and then move on with their life, this was fantastic. Because that's all we kept seeing. Yeah, a lot of them, EA games, stuff like third party, whatever. But it's on Game Pass, day one. And that's a big deal breaker. Well, not deal breaker, but that's a decider for a lot of people when it comes to whether they're fresh on getting a new console or if they're thinking about what type of games to buy. And if they I have both consoles. Do I even need Game Pass? I don't need it. Well, damn, all these games are going to be on there. And I don't know if I want to play or spend that much money. Games are $70 now, not even worth $70. Yeah, all right, why not? Just jump on the Game Pass. So did they get their messaging across? I think so. It's hard. Again, like I said, we're in a bubble. I don't know a lot of casuals, but I could just go based off of news outlets that cover it. And like NPR and some of them cover it. And they're seeing this like, wow, this is a great value. It's like you get the subscription because people are comparing it to like Netflix. And a lot of people think Netflix is a great value. You get a lot of shows, you get European shows and stuff. It's like replacing TV, the way people regard Netflix. And clearly this is what Phil wanted with Game Pass. And they didn't have enough studios to do it, so he gobbles up a bunch of studios, and he's like, all right, can you produce games? Oh, you can't produce games? We got to go buy more studios. And then they buy more, and now we're seeing that was the thing. When we watched this, there was a lot of games we're not interested in, right? There's a lot of fluff things and stuff, but there's a little something for everything. I saw some games I know my daughter and her friends are going to be playing. I saw some things that made my son like. He's into Fortnite and all those type of things. There was that other Fortnite type looking game that we saw. I was like, oh, I could see him and his buddy playing this. So if they have all that and it's all under this service, and it makes things a lot easier for newer audiences or younger kids to jump in and tell their parents, I'm not going to buy you all these games. It's all under this service. And they're from this first party studio, which means that they'll always be there because we know games come and go. But there's always going to be there. Even the EA stuff, we already know EA Play is part of Game Pass. So those games are always going to be there. They're not going to get pulled. So it's all about, again, back to us in the bubble. We saw the showcase. Did the casuals? I don't know if casuals saw that showcase, even if they even knew about this. So it's how did Phil and them get that messaging across that, hey, we just did a big showcase. We showed a bunch of games that our studios are working on that are coming out day one, part of the service, no extra fee. It's all about messaging. Can they get that across? I think the open door is going to be Call of Duty, because when we start seeing those ads everywhere, it's gonna have it blasted probably, or maybe I wouldn't be surprised if the whole time during the trailers of those TV ads, it just says Game Pass Day One, and it just leaves it there. So then that way people get an idea. It's like if they jump in for Call of Duty, then they'll see all the other ones, and it'll take off. So
yeah, related to that, Jay Shep, my man hasn't been in the live shows, but he knew you were going to be here, so he wanted to be up. So he's asking you, Adam, do you think there's going to be an uptick in Xbox console sales from casuals?
That's tricky. Because all right, so we saw the other big deal was, well, not really a big deal for anybody, but still, it was funny that they did that, because we were all expecting the rumored handheld Xbox.
Yeah.
No, they just repackaging the same shit they got, without the disk drive, and dropping $50 from some of them. All right, well, the bundling, right? That's what I was really surprised though, because I was like, all right, you're gonna do this, and they're like, oh, we got this darker black one. Where's the Call of Duty one? Where is this Series S 1 terabyte, Call of Duty one? That's the one that would sell like hotcakes, because then it's like, hey, you get this, throw in like 3-4 months of Game Pass on there, and you got people pulled in. They didn't do that. We got another white one, we got another black one without the drive, and a darker one. I don't know, because remember back in the day, PlayStation does it and Xbox used to do it. I remember I have a 360 in the corner, and that's still a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. The original Modern Warfare 3 came with a 250 gig hard drive, had this nice skin, it looked all gunmetal green. It was awesome. That's what they need to produce, and maybe they will. But this would have been the showcase to bring it out, especially when you do a whole 25-minute, 30-minute presentation for Call of Duty. Why not throw it in there? Oh, we're releasing a special edition Call of Duty or Series S or the Series X. We didn't get that, but it's all about the presentation. We know they're going to have to do some kind of packaging just to blast that. It's like, look, this is part of it, and it's free if you get Game Pass. Is it really free? No, but you get the service, you get all the other shit. People might as well. So they will throw that. It's like when cell phone plans say, it's like, oh, get this phone on us. No, it's not really on you, bitch, because I have to pay monthly payments on this shit. You're just fronting it. So it's the same type of deal, but they just got to promote it. They got to really promote it and go all out, because we saw a lot of crazy games. Nothing that really stands out, but besides Doom, and Doom is a great game. We all know about Doom. Yeah. A lot of people know it, but I don't know if casuals would just jump in for Doom. But Call of Duty, they jump in on that. So they got to really push it, and we'll see. They said the holidays, so this is it, and they got to really get it out there. That messaging has to get out there.
Yeah. We got a couple questions about the $600 console, so we're going to answer those later, but I want to take these questions one by one here. Did the Xbox Game Showcase create momentum for the brand? I think so. I realize I'm in the minority here. If you go to Twitter, I'm getting fucking destroyed right now. I got ratioed to death over my negative take on it, because I thought the thing was trash. Personally, people aren't happy with me, but I objectively understand that people enjoyed it, and I would objectively give it a 6 out of 10 instead of 3 out of 10, which is what I personally would give it. So I do think it's going to give people momentum, especially all the good press that it's generating. A lot of people out there talking well about Xbox. Is all forgiven? No, I don't think so. There's still a lot of work. Remember, you can't just wash away an entire generation of failures over one showcase. Showcase, what's the showcase? It's just a promise of what's to come. And we've seen this from Xbox before, where they promise us games. Remember the roadmap, the 12-month roadmap? None of those fucking games came out. So just because, and then we have other factors like the vague 2025, fucking Gears, we're going to get to Gears, doesn't even have a release date. So I think that's troubling. It's like, yes, these games quote unquote are coming, but we don't know when they're coming. So I don't think everything's forgiven. And then the last one here is, well, people forget all the bad news of the past months. Casuals don't even know about the bad news, right? So they don't factor. And well, the hardcore guys, of course not. We're fucking nerds. We don't forget this type of stuff. But like things like layoffs and all this other shit, it's still something that hurts the brand, But like I said, if you release a consecutive wave of good games, right? I don't know if the things will be forgiven, but it'll definitely change things. But I do think at least this showcase. But the thing is, we've said this before, where it's like I wanted to say the showcase give you more hope for the future, but we've said this about Xbox a million fucking times. So I don't know. But it is a better showing. I mean, granted, this is coming off of, and we got a question about this too. This is coming off of, the PlayStation State of Play, which was absolute dog shit, and then Summer Game Fest was nobody liked. So like by de facto, it won. I know Jay Shep has a question about that, but so that's what I think about that.
They need a hit. That's the one thing that I gathered from this. They threw a lot at us. Some we didn't even care about, but one of those has to hit. One of those, and they have to come out. Like you said, it's like some of them were very vague. 2025. I think one even said early 2025. It's like, well, that's something, But everything else was. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like the whole thing with this press conference is. It's a tale of sort of two songs. I mean, we're talking about from our perspective where we've been burned in the past, where we're taking these press conferences not at face value but as hype value, and then we have the other tale where most of the people are coming from the State of Play. They're coming from the SGF Summer Games Fest conference and from a couple of other conferences in the past, and they've all been shit. So this, by comparison, looks like an absolute godsend, and you see it on Twitter. You see it. Everyone saying. I see people saying it's a 10 out of 10. I'm like, what?
Yeah, they're bugging. They're crazy.
If it's graded on a curve, then maybe I guess that's the only way I can see it. But the whole thing with this press conference is, did it have a lot of good? Was it a good press conference? In my opinion, it was. Was it extraordinary? I don't think so. Did it have a lot of good things that piqued my interest? Like Doom, we're all hyped for.
Yeah.
The whole thing with that one game, that turn-based Western game, was piqued my interest because
that French game.
I had no clue. Western developers did turn-based like that, like a turn-based RPG. Like kind of like the Japanese did. Or do the Souls type game that we saw looked interesting as well. We already know about, and those were those three were the surprises. We have games like Metal Gear, which we've all expected, which is like, that's cool. It's not like this huge thing, right? Call of Duty, we already knew about that. All right, cool. Avowed, we got a little bit of it. That game is supposed to be out this year. We still don't have a date.
The November 12th. November 12th. People were complaining about that on Twitter. It's like, why didn't Microsoft say this during the showcase? Like, they officially announced it's coming out November 12th. I'll look at the exact date, but they gave an official release date, but they didn't do it during the showcase.
Maybe they didn't have it when that package was created.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Indiana Jones game. The Indiana Jones game, we got this long trailer, and we got a little bit of gameplay at the end, but we didn't get a concrete date. These are the 2024 games. Everything else were the 2025 games. And I'm just talking about within the conference, I guess, because Tony mentioned about got a date. Gears of War is a great announcement. I'm pretty happy that it's. I don't know, Adam, how you feel about this, but I love the fact that Oh, so we won't delve.
Yeah, let's not go to because the next question is about. Oh, so Avowed release date November 12th, 2024. That's official. That's not rumor. That's official.
So it's this year, the rest of this year. Because we want to see some of these games come out at least for the holidays. I don't want to see everything 2025, 2025. No.
So Avowed could be their big game for this year. It could.
I think so. I mean, Indiana Jones, if it comes out.
We'll talk about Perfect Dark. Don't worry about it. All right. Does anybody else want to answer some of these questions before we move on to the Gears of War one?
Oh, just real quick.
Basically, did this give Xbox momentum? That's the heart of the question here.
Go ahead, Manny.
Did it give them momentum? In my opinion, yes, because it pulled what I call the cunning stunts. Where where it's like the easy answers, the things, but when you take the moment when all the glitz and the glamour wears off and you look at what they really have, again, no defining generation moments here. No new IP. All a bunch of remakes. All a bunch of established IP.
Well, that mixtape was weird, but
Avowed is a new IP.
Mixtape is not going to be a console seller.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, what is the, every single generation has that thing. The when Gears of War came out, that within the 360 generation, that was that defining moment for that generation. What in here is there other than just being a bunch of stuff that you've already heard of, and then just a bunch of filler to fill in the gaps? What did we really see? We saw a bunch of games that are all coming in the future. So most of these games don't have any dates, so it's just a lot of it's a lot of flash but no substance.
Did we get a date for the Metal Gear?
What was that?
Did the Metal Gear give a date? I don't know.
It still doesn't have a date. It didn't have a date when it was showed on the PlayStation thing, and it still doesn't have a date. So, I just see a lot of really impressive stuff. Definitely a good looking show, for a non-critical eye. But then when you get down to it, just like their reveal of the Xbox Series X, a lot of stuff to talk about. But then, but without any sort of dates or when anything is coming. Think about it. We just got Senua's Sacrifice this year, which is like 4 years later from when it was shown on that showcase, showed at the Game Awards. How many of those games on there were even have come out in that time?
Some of the some of the games on there were also announced many years ago. And by the way,
Perfect Dark.
What I said about Hellblade was right. They didn't even talk about it.
Yep, it didn't even go anywhere. They didn't talk about it because it's it's just the way it is. But yeah, so again, from the surface level, I think it's a very impressive sort of thing. But when you get down to the nitty gritty, and obviously you're gonna have a lot of people that are really waiting for these things to come through. But look how long are you going to be waiting for these things?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Mob Hits has a couple of comments for you, Manny. Because he gave it a 9 out of 10. He really liked it. So, because you said there were no new IP, so he goes, "What about Flintlock? What about South of Midnight? What about Avowed? They're all new IPs."
Sure. Are they going to sell?
Yeah, man. And then he also said, "Isn't that how every other showcase is? PlayStation or Nintendo?"
Well, is that how every single showcase is done, where it's just a bunch of remakes and sequels? No, they're not always like that. Maybe if you grew up in a generation where all you knew was anything but PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
but
Otaku Man.
Otaku Man.
But I'm saying, what defines this generation? Is it just we're just remaking the past? Or we're just continuing over from the plastic glories of previous consoles? Is that what we should just be doing? Should we just keep getting the same shit reserved to us?
Yeah, Bob Hits. That's what Manny's saying. He's saying that about every one of these publishers. He's not just singling out Xbox here. Everybody. And this conversation, Manny, what you're talking about is what we brought up on the Thursday show and which we've brought up in the past. There has been no generation-defining game. We haven't had it yet.
Yeah.
Well,
you can literally say on onset, even with the PlayStation 4 when it came out, what games were going to be these things that were going to, this is Order, even though Order 1886 didn't do the things it did, but it did because it was like, this is what it's like to play a next gen console on the console game on the PlayStation 4. Same thing with the PlayStation 3. It's like, when Uncharted came out and when all those other titles came out, it's like, this is what it's like to play a game on the PlayStation 3. What do we have that for 5 other than a bunch of games that are just rehashes and sequels of the previous generation? What belongs to this generation and says that you said that this is it? I don't think anybody on those first party levels, at least for PlayStation and for Xbox, have really served that. Nintendo,
not
it's like
Starfield,
okay,
my man. Absolutely not Starfield.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not Starfield. It's just like okay, what a shinier turd of what Bethesda usually does. Oh, look at this! What is this?
Oh, Richard Bailey Jr. in the house. Let's fucking go. Oh shit!
Controversy.
It just got real right now. You know, Rich man. How are you, sir, from Los Angeles? See if he can hear us. Well, give him time. Go ahead.
Yeah.
There he is. There he is.
There we go.
So, can you hear me clear?
We hear you clearly
not
enough.
clear, but we hear you.
We hear you. Rich, what's going on down there, man? What's going on in the LA streets?
Well, it's been a very interesting experience, to say the least. There's a lot to say, but I figured, if I was able to jump on here, I didn't want to disrupt the show, but I definitely would like to be a part of these questions that people are asking.
Yeah, for sure. Manny, finish up your point because I want to get. I got some.
Yeah, I mean that's it. Like my only qualm with this, and again, it's a world's better. On the surface level, it's worlds better than the PlayStation. But again, like I said, once you get down to the nitty gritty of what we've actually saw, a lot of it there's a lot of Swiss cheese holes in it, and a lot of waiting that's probably going to happen. So I'm, when we start seeing them, all right. But I mean, I feel like we're still going to somewhat get the same situation that before. We saw a lot of these titles, quite a bit of a few first party titles. But what's going to be the spacers here?
Yeah.
So
real
quick.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, because I want to ask the question to Richard.
Just before that, I'll do this quick because I want to address something. Shout out to Otaku Man who posted a comment. He said, "What is the obsession with dates? I have a huge backlog." The whole thing with me with dates is, for example, there's 3 games in particular: Perfect Dark, Fable, and Avowed, which were part of whatever this presentation is. Those games were announced in 2020.
Yeah,
it's been 4 years since they've been announced, and we still don't have dates for some of them. So we can't, like we did this with The Last Guardian. We at least for me, I'm not going to give credit to a game showing up on a presentation if it shows up every year to every presentation.
Yeah, exactly.
And someone we still don't got dates, so I can't get excited for that. It's just vaporware to me at this point.
Yeah, I mean, not to. I mean, they're talking about release dates. My thing is, and Carlos, you're kind of like me too. It's like we generally tend to play games when they come out, right? So we want to know when does this game coming out, so I could prepare to play it. By it's like yes, you can play the game years later, but it's like then all this other shit is already out. So it's and I know this is partly because I have to cover games when they come out, but it's like I am not trying to be like, oh, play that 4 years later. It's like, no, I want to play it when it comes out, and it also better be right when it comes out. I'm not trying to wait 3 or 4 years for them to patch it to make it correct. But that's a whole other conversation. But Rich, I want to get your thoughts on this specifically for the question. Did the Xbox Game Showcase create momentum for the brand? Because I know you said, to me that this was fire, 9 out of 10, and which is generally what most people are saying. So you're not like that is not a controversial statement there. But
so Rich, tell us exactly why you're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rich.
Well, first and foremost, shout out to Otaku Man who left that comment. If you hear this message, you definitely need to get down here next year, man. I don't want to hear any excuses because you will have a whole year to plan to come down here, but you need to get down here next year. So to answer the question, I think it did build momentum for the Xbox brand, and that was the general consensus with everybody that was in attendance. Obviously, you had some fans there because there was some fan fest people there, but there was also media there, and I haven't spoken to one person that was disappointed in this conference yet. So I do agree that some of the games they showed where it had no release date, okay, like Gears of War. Now, obviously, I was not glad that there wasn't a release date on that because that could be 2026, 2027. For all we know, that could be a next-gen game whenever, Xbox Series 2, Series X2, whatever. But I thought, though, for the games that we've seen before, the main complaint of those games was, well, these are all cinematics. We actually saw some gameplay for some of these games today. Perfect Dark, for example, that's a game that people were saying, oh, it's in development hell. And a lot of people was very surprised when they saw that today, because you saw gameplay. Yes, you did see some cinematics, but the gameplay, I thought that looked pretty good. Fable, which Carlos mentioned earlier, and that's going to be his most anticipated game for 2025, I heard.
It's in the running.
Obviously we saw some gameplay in that as well. I have a lot of questions about some stuff that I did see, but yeah, for the most part. And then of course there was some stuff they announced that we didn't even that did not leak ahead of time, which I was surprised, because some of those games they announced. However, when they announce world premiere, right? Sometimes that means it's coming to another console also. So that was something that I picked up on when I saw that 33 game, because then I know you had a tweet, Tony, where you said, "Oh yeah, this is also coming to PS5." So some of that stuff, yes, there's some third-party stuff in there, and I know when Microsoft advertised this conference ahead of time, they would emphasize, well, this is Activision, Blizzard, Xbox Studios. So obviously when some of the third-party stuff showed up in there, I didn't that's a little different from what was said. But overall, I think it did build some momentum, because think about it, Xbox had no games for the last couple of years. I remember Halo Infinite, that was the last game that released, and then we had a long period of time where we didn't have any games. Then some stuff started to come out, one game a year, so on and so forth. So I think overall it did build momentum as far as letting you know Xbox does have some stuff coming. Some of the stuff you're still going to be waiting for, but they have some stuff that's cooking, because you saw some actual gameplay. So but we'll see what happens.
All right, so I want to chime in real quick while we're on that topic, because when he was talking about dates, so Gears, this latest Gears was first shown off during the Unreal 5 engine showcase in 2020. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was years ago, and they were like, and they even in that showcase, if you watch it again, the developers from Gears were talking about, hey, there's a coalition. Hey, listen, we had this already worked out, but then we talked to people at Epic, and they showed off all the new technology that's within Unreal 5, and we're like, you know what? We want to implement that, so we're gonna take some more time to develop this game. It's years has passed, like I said, 2020. So we're expecting, at least for a game like this, to have a date, and for them to show this, and that's great, but no gameplay, just CGI. It looks amazing, but then still not even put a year. It's stressful, because it's like, shit, we saw this in 2020. At least you should have something done.
Gotta have something.
Gotta have something. 38 minutes.
You gotta have at least a window, at least say 2025. We didn't even get that. Mm-hmm. So while I'm excited that they're doing something, which they should, since a whole studio was built around this franchise, it's disappointing. It's disappointing. So that's, for me, for that title specifically, that's why I care about dates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And also, just to go back to something Rich mentioned about the Xbox having games, we already knew that they had a huge ass clip that they were building on. I mean, they have so many studios, they have so many like I mentioned, Fable has been announced for years. Avowed has been announced for years. Perfect Dark has been announced for years. Gears has been we've been waiting since Gears 5 for a while now. So that we knew all of these things. Indiana Jones was already announced,
and it was amazing with Fable, because we heard all the stop and go, right? Studio closed, and they were like, they scrapped the plan, and they were like, oh, we restarted. Oh, they didn't like it. So I was really surprised to see anything now, and I wonder if this was a completely different game. And they're like, slap Fable on it, please, thank you.
So people that are surprised that they're showing stuff would be surprising for me. But the thing that I feel like the consensus feeling for most of us is, we know that you guys have stuff. It's just the consistency of it. I mean, we've been saying it about Sony for a while now.
But again, with Xbox, how many times have we said, "Oh, they got this coming, and we're still waiting and waiting and
They
waiting."
need a win. They
You know,
need
so it's like I'm
one
looking
win.
at. I think it was and forgive me if I say your name wrong here. Drastotol or Drastos LOL. Let's go over Drastos LOL. He said there were 17 first-party games shown. How many of those are we going to get within like the next 2 years? Like we just got a vague 2025. You know, again, I can't forgive the whole, oh, here's the roadmap, the 12-month roadmap, and none of those fucking games came out. You know, I like, so you can forgive me for being a little skeptical that we're going to see these games in a timely manner. You know, so I'm not buying it. And like we said, yes, there were some new IPs shown, but even those weren't like blockbusters. Well, I think it was Mob Hits. He brought up that Louisiana swamp game. It looks like some generic fucking third-person action game, like whatever, you know. And then we had Avowed, whatever, you know. Starfield, nobody gives a fuck about that anymore. You know, it's like the only game that was like truly hot. Yeah, Diablo 4. No, oh my, don't get me started on that fucking trailer. You heard me during the stream.
Yeah, that was horrible.
I was quiet and I just yelled out like, "What the fuck? This is bullshit." And I gotta say, hold on, I'm on a rant right now. You know, we had all these trailers, a lot of either in-game or CG, no fucking gameplay. You know, it's like the majority of these things, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't see, I think I saw like a third of gameplay from the games that were shown here. You know, it's like, well, it was mostly in-game trailers or CG shit. I'm tired of that. Give me the games, give me gameplay, give me release dates, you know? So it's like we've had all these promises from Xbox for years and years and years and years and years, you know? It's like, okay, finally now we have like a quote-unquote PR move, but it's still the same thing. Wait till next Summer Game Fest. Wait till next Tokyo Game Show. Like it's always waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting with this fucking brand. It's frustrating. I'm not even an Xbox guy, and I'm frustrated by this shit. You know, so that's why when I see, listen, I'm not trying to take away anybody's hype. If you genuinely enjoyed the show, fantastic. I'm not taking that away from you. But to me, this whole thing was an exercise in frustration, and I'm not even bringing up my fucking disappointment with that Dragon Age bullshit. That's separate from that. You know, so I'm being generous by giving this a 6 out of 10. But it's a lot of promises. When are we going to get these fucking games? You know, go ahead, Rich.
So I would like to make a quick comment. So when we started this conversation, Tony said I said it was a outstanding presentation, 9 out of 10. I never said it was a 9 out of 10. I want to clarify that. It was definitely better than the State of Play event. But yes, I agree with, I definitely agree with the release date thing. And if I could make a prediction, I want to make a prediction right now that you will see release dates for some of this stuff because they're going to save that for Gamescom. There's a reason why.
Wait till Gamescom. Wait till Gamescom. Yeah. It's always wait with its fucking company.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, no. Oh, no, I agree. Because the thing is this. What I thought was weird is that for Avowed and Indiana Jones, it says fall 2024. We're halfway over with 2024. So there needs to be a release date for that, like a clear release date. That's why I said I would be surprised if they don't announce the release date for both of those by the end of summer, because it doesn't make any kind of sense where you still don't know when that's releasing and there's only, 6 months left in the year. So, yeah. But I agree with the criticisms for sure.
And Rich, I want to jump on something you said because even though I'm giving you my opinion, I am trying to be. Yes, as a show, it was a good show. Games, wall to wall. I will absolutely give you that. Yes, as a show. But again, we've had these broken promises and shit. So it's very difficult for me to trust this company. And it's very difficult for me to jump on the hype train when we know the history. We've had over 10 years of this shit. Wait till next year. Wait till next year. Wait till the next showcase. Wait till the next showcase. Wait till this. Wait till that. Wait. That's all we're fucking doing with this goddamn company. I'm tired of it, you know? It's insane. Oh, by the way, we had somebody on YouTube dip. All right, brother. See ya. You know, he's like, oh, you guys are hating. I'm like, we keep it real on Throwdown, man. This is what we do, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we've gone at it.
Damn, Chris also dipped. He like,
it's Rich. Remember, he's, connection and troubles and shit.
All right.
I mean, like, here's the thing, like, at least you're not getting an echo chamber, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Because if we were, thank you for saying that. Because if we were just like every other podcast right now, oh my God, Xbox, like we'd be just loving this shit. We keep it real on Throwdown, man. You know,
I mean, the thing about it is that, you know, listen, it's easy to get caught up in the whole hoopla. Like, again, like on the surface, on that showing, there's a lot of really good things in there. But again, like, but then you also have to take a moment and look back and be like, okay, what in here is actually coming in coming soon? What things don't actually have dates? Mm-hmm. What things are, they made an announcement for World of Warcraft for PC. That's great. How come they're not making that announcement for Xbox?
Yeah.
You know,
no, you're right. Yeah.
So, like certain little nitty gritty things like that. Like, you know, you made an announcement for Sea of Thieves. Okay, that's great.
Hold on,
Sea of Thieves has been.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I got to cut in because I got a comment. I got to comment on this comment. Drastole LOL says, if PlayStation put that show out, I'm sure no one would be capping about release dates. Every single one of us would too. If you, I think you might be new with the Throwdown. There's a complaint we've had with PlayStation as well. Give us those fucking release dates. Nobody is free from that shit. We are equal opportunity haters on Throwdown. You know, give us those fucking release dates.
We've been at this game for long enough to essentially be able to cut through a lot of the bullshit of again, like, it's really nice to get all caught up in all the flashy lights and stuff, but then you got to realize where all the cords are and see that not all the cords are all plugged in the wall, and not all the lights are all lit up.
Yeah.
Every showcase to show games and dates, gameplay, and
that's
dates.
all we're not asking for a lot. We're asking for two things.
The game's not ready to show off.
Yeah,
that's it.
And thank you.
Yeah, and Drestos, I'm guessing you weren't here for the show where we said Sony has nothing. To show for this year.
We said
nothing, and this was at the beginning of the year, and we turned out to be right. Wow, and also, I mean, come on, whataboutisms. I mean, Sony gets as much criticism from us as Xbox does.
I've become PlayStation villain number one this generation because I called the company out on bullshit. Now I'm getting hate from Xbox. So the balance is there, like Thanos, perfectly balanced,
Everything is perfectly balanced.
But you know why I'm getting hate from both sides? Because I hold them to the same standard. I'm not going to hold up one company over another,
Thing about it is that you just... again, like you can get all caught up in it, but just realize a lot of it is just a lot of glitz and glamour and smokescreen. And then again, when you get it down to it, what did you really see? Because you might have not just seen anything.
Yeah,
you see a bunch of stuff that's coming, but you don't see a bunch of stuff that's almost here.
Yeah. Again, when you've been doing this as long as us, we see right through the bullshit. I remember in 2014, Manny and I were at E3 on the ground floor where they announced that Final Fantasy, I think it was 15 at the time, was coming to PS4, right? Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy 15, right? And they were talking, and then at the end, me and Manny were like, hey, they're charging for PlayStation, which is something they promised they would never do.
Yep.
So it's like you got to cut through the shit. Throwdown show. What standard do you hold Nintendo to? The same standard I hold everybody else to, and let's not do the whataboutisms.
I mean, I'm gonna say this: Nintendo doesn't announce anything that doesn't come out.
Yeah, I'll give them that. I'll give them that.
Except Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Well, except for those things, but like,
they don't announce that. But real quick,
I feel like that one was way too announced way too early.
Yeah, but Kishak, to your point, why do you think I go hardest on Nintendo? Because I am holding them to the same standard as Microsoft and Sony. And what is my problem with them? I know this is off topic, but you asked it. What is my standard? 1080p minimum. We're not even getting that. 60 frames, we get that sometimes. Shitty ass old, outdated ass hardware. So I hold them to the same fucking standard too, and that's why I give them the worst shit. Because but again, it's like me for making fun of the little retarded kid and shit. It's like it's not fair. But if you want me to compare them, I will. And you may not like what I have to say about Nintendo. But we're getting off topic. I want to go on to the next question. We still on the first question. And we got 22 more of these motherfuckers.
Yeah, man. As opposed to the last episode, we were a brisk six questions. What was that?
Yeah. Foolish pupil. You guys are fucking fair as hell. People get their feelings hurt because their identity was wrapped up in what company thinks better. Exactly. That's the thing. People are upset when we say something because their identity is tied into this shit. My identity ain't tied to none of this shit. That's why I'll criticize all three of these fucking companies. The big publishers. I don't give a fuck.
But I feel like
I'm not going to be like Tim, dog.
I feel like people ignore when we compliment things.
That's what it is.
We were very excited for Doom. I was very excited for Perfect Dark. I was excited for the Metal Gear remake. Well, I love Metal Gear, so we all get complimented things that was like, wow, that looks pretty good.
People don't talk about that, but we do have questions about what games we specifically like. Okay, all right, let's jump into it. Adam, man, get ready. Will Gears of War E-Day bring the series back to its roots? Was this a necessary move to go back to the roots instead of continuing the story?
I think so. Because if you played the last one, 5, it had 2 different endings. And the big question is like, which one are you going to pick? And there's really no right answer because one is sad and the other one is just as sad. So it's not like when they had Carmine die, if you guys remember that, and Gears, and it was like, oh, it's so sad, but he was under a helmet and no one really cared. And then they still brought the fool back. No, these are 2 main characters. So the big question is like, how are they going to continue the story? And you know what? That's the same question that they had over there, which is why they didn't write a script for it, because they couldn't figure it out. So it only made sense to go all the way back of like, how did this start? Now, if you play the spin-off, which is Judgment, that one sort of plays into it because Barr, which was one of the guys, he is on trial and they're convicting him of all kinds of stuff, and you play through those segments. So they sort of go into it, but Baird, I should say. But for this to show like when it first started, when they first got triggered with the locusts and then all the stuff coming up, that's great. And we get Dom back. That's one thing everybody always wanted. We had Zombie Dom for multiplayer and stuff, and that's great and all, but man, people miss Dom. That was a heartfelt moment when he died in games, especially in that game. It was like, oh shit. So it's great, and they had to do something. They had to something to bring that audience in, because I mean, you said, and a few other people, you're not the only one. I have other friends of mine that were really into Gears. And we still play 4. We're still playing more 4, and it's like they only pick the older characters. They don't like the new characters. It's the kids of someone. That same trope. It's always the kids of so and so, and it's like no. We just want the OGs. Why can't we just keep going with this? And I think that's their whole reasoning behind this. It was like, well, we can't let go of Marcus. Everybody loves Marcus. Even when they brought him with the grizzled look and stuff, we want more of him. It's like, well, it's not supposed to be about him. It's supposed to be about his kid and the DJ and all. No. Okay. So how do we do this? Now, the thing I'm worried about is that when we do get this game, is this going to be the whole story, or is this the beginning of a new trilogy? Because they need to keep going. They have a studio. They need to keep going. Is this going to be the whole story, sort of like, let's say, D-Day, like in World War II, and that's relevant right now with the anniversary, where we see the whole thing and then it's done? Or are they going to break it up in chunks? And it's like, all right, we're going to play from an early part where maybe Marcus just enlisted, and he's like, oh, here I am, and we're doing the early part and then work our way to it, and then that's another game or one after? Or is everything going to be told in one game, and then at the end it's going to do like a little sprinkle of present day, and then give the hint of like what happened at the end of 5, and say, all right, pretty much saying, hey, within another 3 or 4 years, the next game will be Gears 6. Because I'm seeing this as almost like a side game, because it's not in the number system. So this is more like a spin-off in a way, of a throwback. It's like, all right, well, let's just go back. Let's tell this story that we can do because we have that lore already established, even in audio books and regular books. It's all been laid out. So that's easy for them. They don't have to rewrite anything. It's all out there right now if you want to find out what happened on Emergence Day. So this gives them more time to figure out when a proper Gear 6 comes out. But like I said before, we saw footage of what they were working on in 2020, and now we see more, and there's no date, and this hurts because then that means that I can't get excited really for this because this could come down 2027. If they can't even say 2025, that's a bad sign.
This is why release dates are important, you know?
Yeah, you can't tell me that this game will be ready in 2 years, then don't even show me this shit. Just say, you know what, we're working on some stuff. Show us the Gears collection, which we know is real, because I mentioned before, and you could go and look it up online. I even double-checked to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. There's a bunch of reports out there of people, testers that worked on that project that are on LinkedIn looking for new work, and they have it listed as worked on Gears collection, future release, did testing for Gears collection, future PC release. So it's there. They have it. Show that. That's at least that'll get the taste buds going. I want to play all those old ones again on Hugo, my Steam Deck. I want to have that experience. I want to replay the cleanup. When they did that Ultimate Edition,
hell yeah,
that was great. I loved it, and I was expecting a steady flow. Let's get 2, let's get 3, and then
that's what I thought too.
Dried up. Yeah, it dried up. Nothing happened. So I was like, shit. Okay, and then even this, the whole time, I'm like, all right, they're definitely going to show that. I would have preferred the Gears collection than what I got here, because at least with the collection, I know that it'll be ready and they'll have like a holiday release date. With this, now it's just like, shit. So I know you guys are good at making CG. That's great. Thanks. Yeah. You did a nice little video.
Pretty much. Oh, real quick, Otaku Man says, I'm so proud of Throwdown. I appreciate you all. Shout out to the coalition too. I got to go to work. Thank you, man. Again, man, you're one of the mentors, man. You know,
thank you.
Yeah, we're here because of you, man. Thank you.
Go ahead,
Manny.
Yeah,
Gears.
For me on Gears, I feel like in a lot of ways the coalition should have started with this.
Coalition with a C.
Really, yeah, like the first. I feel, to be honest, I feel like the Gears franchise has sort of been diminishing returns ever since they've been trying to inject their new characters in, and not try to address the Marcus Phoenix issue, of him not being in the games. And I feel like the first thing they should have did is they should have done E-Day. And by the way, I predicted this when I said it's Emergence Day. I was like, anyway, because I feel like that would have been the right way to start them off. Be like, all right, we're gonna do something that has already been established. Try to tell that story with the characters that you remember, and then learn from that, and then and then come back, and then try to move forward from that. But I guess better late than ever. But at the same time, again, like what Adam said, there's no dates. We just saw a pretty trailer that made that it was either a CG or was either pre-rendered or it was done recorded in the engine. Which when they say recorded in engine, it doesn't matter. A cinematic is just running. Yeah. It's not running gameplay. It's an ideal situation. They can run a bunch of lights and all kinds of stuff to make everything look pretty. So I'm excited to see this game. I'm sort of happy to try to go back to somewhat traditional Gears of War than the more newer ones.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's always been tricky with them with this, because remember at the end of 3 it was over. We got Marcus taking off his bandana at the beach. He's like, yeah, it's over. Cliff even said, he the creator, the writer. He's like, hey, this is all we wrote. This is it. And at the time, Epic Games still owned the IP. So it wasn't like Microsoft was sitting on their hands like, oh, well, we'll work on it. They couldn't. It was out of their control until they eventually worked out a deal. They bought the IP. Then they said, all right, guess what? We're building a studio coalition just for it. And this, and that. We brought back the original writers and all this stuff going on. But, they never really found their way because the story was pretty much done. And so I agree, Manny. They should have just said, you know what? If we're going to go forward, let's go backward first. let's tell the story of how this whole thing came about to begin with, because this is not on Earth. That's another thing I always talk to people like, oh, when we're not, this is a different planet altogether. So they can throw all kinds of other stuff at us of how these things panned out, and then from there go into what they did with 4 and introducing the kids and doing all this stuff. And what I'm curious also is, at least if we didn't get gameplay, they should have announced some features. Simple things like, we're bringing back 4-player campaign co-op, at least for that one, because Gears 3 had 4-player campaign co-op. The other ones had 2-player, that whole Army of 2 thing. But at least it's all, because then when 5 came out and 4-2, it's like, you had 3. You play as a robot. Remember? And 5, that was really weird. It's like, who wants to just play as a robot the whole time? And it's a drone pretty much. So that was a weird vibe. But just throw some ideas or maps or something. Or just talk. They didn't even do that. So I'm excited that they're working on it. At least we know for sure that they're definitely working on it. But I can't get too excited until I see gameplay.
Yeah, I was going to jump on next, but I want to use Blitz's comment here to go off of that. He goes, fuck JD and company. That's kind of how I am. I'm like, I played Gears of War 4. It was okay, but I didn't bother with Gears of 5. So I'm happy they're doing a prequel because they're actually giving me the characters I care about. I don't give a shit about, Phoenix's son. I don't care. And I don't care about the homegirl. I don't give a shit about those people. So I'm glad they're going back. But like, as has been said, disappointed that, fucking no release date. Who knows when we're going to get the Xbox Series X too, So like, we'll see. But, it is good to at least see a company giving the fans what it wants, instead of just saying, no, fuck you. You're going to get 6 now. It's like, we don't want 6. We don't care about homegirl. I don't give a fuck about her, All right. Anything else you guys want to say about Gear 6 or Gears E Day, I should say?
Yeah. Just sort of echoing what you guys have mentioned. I like the direction that they're going to, but got to be cautious about when this is going to release because this could be coming out in 5 years for all we know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I know Adam has been hyped about it because going back to his catchphrase, they got to have something. The coalition. How long has it been since Gears 5? 4 years at least?
More than that, because probably about that amount of time. Because it was I gotta look at the release date for that one.
5 years. It's going to be 5 years in September. So,
2019, yeah.
So we've been waiting for new Gears for almost 5 years now, and we have no date in sight. So when we expected, I mean everyone expected Gears to be announced today. So when they announced it and we didn't get a semblance of a release date or time frame or anything, it causes pause because this could come out in another 5 years. We don't know, and that's just Microsoft's track record. They announce games way too early, kind of like how Sony would do it, and the games would just take forever to come out. And Hellblade took way longer than anyone expected, especially from Ninja Theory. And Gears, Coalition is just a Coalition with a C. Coalition is, a dedicated Gear studio at this point. So, it sucks that, something as cool as this announcement and this direction, we have no clue when to be expecting it, especially when we've already been waiting almost 5 years for it.
Yeah, it's sad. That's what stresses me out because I was definitely thinking, oh, we're going to see his release date, holiday. This is it. Say it. Oh, you didn't. Hey, you didn't even say next year. Oh, no. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Rich.
I have some thoughts.
Oh, go ahead, Brian. You first.
Okay. The first thing I thought when I seen the trailer was, oh, cool, they're doing a callback to the OG. They had the same song and all sorts. Okay, that's cool. And then it dawned on me, I think this is them admitting that the new games suck.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't suck, then surely they'd be doing a sequel to it, not going back and doing like a prequel to the first game.
I agree.
Which to me is usually a sign that if ever someone is having to do like a prequel to something, it means that all the new ideas kind of suck. And yes, I am pointing at a lot of media these days.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You know the ones, Tony.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm very aware of that.
I will say this to your point, Brian, it's not that they suck, because the games themselves are decent games. Gears 4 is a pretty decent game. So is 5. It's just the fact that they're going a direction that the fan base didn't care for. So going with these new characters. I mean, people are in love with Marcus Phoenix. People are playing Gears to play as Marcus Phoenix. They don't care two shits about this new kid, and that's the whole thing. It's like, well, maybe Rich does, but the whole thing with going with different characters, trying to phase out Marcus Phoenix, which in the end they kind of backtracked in the later games. And making it open world and everything. It's just
what's wrong,
I don't know why I didn't remember. Forgot all about this. We have the Gears movie, which is talking about the whole emergent state, and that's with Dave Bautista. That's on Netflix coming.
Tie-in? You think this game might get?
That's what I'm thinking. Oh okay. My lord!
Oh shit! Okay, well, do we have a release date on that? Release window on that? No, because this could be a tie-in. Hey, Rich, what's up, man?
First and foremost, let me say that the coalition should be consulting with the coalition to get some advice on making this game. Because let me just say, I ran into so many people during Summer Games Fest that thought I worked at the coalition. I said, no, it's with a K, not a C. Okay. So, but to answer the question, I agree with a lot of what has been said. I think, I did play, as Adam and I have spoken about multiple times, the end of Gears 5, it left me wondering what the hell are they going to do for 6? Because those choices at the very end, that's a very specific choice of a character dying. And you have a choice as to which character it is. So, and obviously, if you make one choice, it's going to change the story. So I knew it was going to be a little bit more ambitious. But also the fact that lead female character, Kate, they made her so important because the villain is a connection there as far as a family lineage situation with that character. So that's why I was like, okay, well, so to make this decision, it makes sense. Yes, people, they Marcus Phoenix is obviously more popular. Dom is a beloved character. So it makes sense to go back to that. But the fact that there wasn't a release date, that is a concern. Yeah. And by the way, since we already mentioned release dates, I also didn't see a release date for Metal Gear, and that looked fantastic. But I'm like, is it 2025 or what? Because we didn't even see that. So that was disappointing to not see a date for that, because we saw a lot more of that than we saw of Gears.
Yeah, it was actual gameplay. But yeah, you're right about that. Anybody else have any more thoughts on Gears? All right, so
I'll play it when it comes out.
There you go. Same here. Whenever it comes out. Next question here. Adam, I'll also have you start this one off to answer it first. Will Black Ops 6 justify the price Microsoft paid for Activision Blizzard if the game is successful? How well will it sell if it's available on Game Pass?
It's all about those bundles that they were splashing at the end. It's like, oh, you want the early access, you want this, you want all these other camos and stuff. There's always people that buy that Vault Edition, which is expensive. It's over $100-something for it. And people buy it. It's got the Battle Pass, all that stuff. So those people are all the fans of the game, the hardcore community, they're going to go and splurge for that. When it comes for the casuals and stuff, I think it's Game Pass. I don't see them shelling out that money, and I think that's what Microsoft wants. They don't want them to spend all this money on it. They want them to buy the subs. It's all about the subs. Get them on the subscriptions. That way they could either use it, don't use it, and let it just keep charging the credit card. That's all they want. So do they care about the sales? I don't think so. I think they care about the subscriptions. And I think this will pull that trigger. I think this will work. Because let's say you have a bunch of hardcore Call of Duty friends, right? They all play. Then they're trying to get their other buddies to jump in. And say, hey, come on, you can play. I'm not spending $70. I told you, I only play with you guys on Saturdays. It's not worth the money. Well, just get Game Pass, and that's a hell of a lot cheaper, and it won't hurt your wallet, and then you can just jump in whenever you can and play with us. Then when you don't feel that bad that you spent $70 plus tax on a game that you only play once a week. I could see that happening. And if that happens and that trickles down and that spreads from Jimmy and Joey and Tina and all the next thing you know, you got all these other people that just subbed up just so they could every once in a while jump in and play some Call of Duty. I think it's going to work because that was the only issue. And at least I would find out with my buddies that did play it, that after a while, well, they didn't play anymore. And they're like, shit, I spent $70 and I don't even play this, or I paid $60 at the time. I was like, well, now it's not going to hurt as much. So I think, and again, it's all about marketing. They have to market this thing. We got to see those crazy ads, clear as day, explaining this game, day one, Game Pass, always, not timed. Okay, that's the other thing, because some people may not understand and be like, oh, that's probably like a promote. It'll probably be there for like 2 months or something, and then they'll make me want to buy it. You know, that's how they're going to get me. No, Microsoft owns this company now, and they'll be able to do it. That was the whole reason why they rushed that bullshit Modern Warfare 3 out, calling it 3 when that was just DLC, just so they can get out of that marketing deal that they had with Sony, Activision, to get that brush. So now they can do full marketing on this one. So they are throwing everything. I'm pretty sure they're going to throw everything to get this clear. So you sent that poster picture, Tony, that with the Call of Duty on. I'm telling you, it's going to be in front of everyone's face, because I forgot who said it. It was somewhere, but it's accurate. I see this as the Hail Mary pass. This is it. Just throw it out there. We're going to throw everything at that way. It's just ingrained in every gamer's mind. When they think Call of Duty, they say that's Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's not Activision. That's Microsoft. That's Game Pass. That's Game Pass for life. You know, it would have been great if they said, hey, to wet your whistle, we're throwing some of the older Call of Duties on Game Pass now. You know, just to get that ball rolling of people like to jump back in, get the juices flowing to playing multiplayer and doing all of that again. So that way you're already getting used to the fact that it's on Game Pass. It's always going to be on Game Pass. And this new one's going to come in day one, and it's going to be all fun for everybody. So we'll see. If the marketing works, it should work. And if the game doesn't suck, which I don't think it's going to suck, because they're putting a lot, it's all hands on deck on this one. It's all the studios plus some of the other studios that Microsoft owns. Like they want to make all of this work. But I think I found out, at least I never rely on Wiki, because anybody can fucking write Wiki. But according to Wiki, remember I kept saying during the presentation, I hope they bring back, campaign co-op for the Black Ops series, because that was a big part of it. It says it's going to be single player for the campaign. Yeah, and that's a bummer. But hopefully that they correct that, and that's not true.
Yeah, I want to bring some stuff up because I remember, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, because I remember one of the big deals was like when they announced that this game was coming to Game Pass, it was that it was going to be available on all tiers of Game Pass, right? It is, but with some caveats. Very interesting, and I'm going to read these down to you, right? So just, humor me with this one. Xbox Game Pass, right? Game Pass Ultimate. This offers the most flexibility as it allows you to play the Black Ops 6 campaign as well as the multiplayer and zombies online modes on your Xbox Series XS or Xbox One consoles and on PC. Game Pass Ultimate subscribers will have access to the digital cross-gen bundle on Xbox consoles and the standard edition on PC and Microsoft Store. Basically, Xbox Ultimate, you get the whole shebang, multiplayer, single player, everything, right?
Yeah, $14.99 plan.
Yeah, okay. Next up, Game Pass on PC. Play the Black Ops 6 campaign as well as multiplayer and zombies online modes on your PC. Game Pass PC. Game Pass PC subscribers will have access to the standard edition on PC Microsoft Store. Okay, moving on. Game Pass console. This is another tier. Play the Black Ops 6 campaign only on your Xbox Series XS or Xbox One consoles. Online console multiplayer access sold separately is required to play the multiplayer and zombies online modes on Xbox Series X, S, or consoles. Xbox Game Pass console subscribers would need to upgrade to a Game Pass Ultimate or additionally subscribe to Game Pass Core, which is sold separately, to access these modes. Game Pass console subscribers will have access to the digital cross-gen bundle on Xbox consoles. So already seeing some bifurcation here. And the last one, Xbox Game Pass Core. Game Pass Core includes online console multiplayer access, which is required to play Black Ops 6 online multiplayer modes and zombies on Xbox consoles, but does not qualify you to access the full game. Also note that all the benefits of Xbox Game Pass Core are included in the Game Pass Ultimate plan. So if you have Core, you're not going to be able to play the whole game. Very interesting. Some people that
don't know what Core is, it's just gold. It's what gold is. It's they just added some Game Pass games onto it.
Yeah,
so just to like make it different. But
no, you're right. That's what it is. And so basically, the long and short of it is, if you want the full Black Ops 6 experience, you need Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. No way around it.
Oh,
very interesting. And then on top of that, there's other things going on. 300 gigs install.
That's ridiculous. But also with EA, the same thing. When you saw those EA games, Game Passes, and this and that, that's Ultimate. That's all Ultimate because that's where EA Play, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That's linked to it. So they really need to. They should have did that as well at the bottom. Ultimate required. Ultimate tier required. Because,
Yeah. And then, I asked this before on the podcast a couple of times, and I'll ask it again, right? How will PlayStation players feel knowing that they're paying $70 for a game that Xbox players effectively get for free? That'll be interesting because remember, for the last few years, for actually the whole generation, most of the player base of Call of Duty has been on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So these guys have to make a choice. Am I going to spend $500 on a console so I can play Call of Duty? Or just pay $70 to play with my friends. And I believe this game's cross-play anyway, so it's not they're going to be missing out on anything. But it's an interesting situation. Then, yes, will this game actually make subscriptions go up for Game Pass? Like you, Adam, you laid it down. I think you're not wrong in that assessment, but I'm curious because, as we know, Xbox Game Pass has stalled in the last year or so.
I think it would be a bad move to do that right before this game because let's pull the audience in. Let's see if this first can pull that crowd in, because if it can pull the big audience in for the Call of Duty, then they probably could hold off another year before they make that bump increase. Let's first see if this opens up the door. Yeah, if this doesn't do it, then I was like, all right, well, I guess we have no choice. We gotta make some money out of this. But let's just wait till after that part. But I think the other part, besides the PlayStation fans getting upset about paying the $70 stuff, I'm still seeing people on the PC side kind of bitter because no one uses that Microsoft Store to play PC games.
Yeah.
And it's like, shit, they want to play on Steam. They want to play Call of Duty, the Steam with the whole interface, their ecosystem. Yep. Why couldn't they just link it up in that way? And it's not. So it's still tricky on that end. I don't know how many people. I know a lot of people that play PC, but I don't know anyone that is going to play Call of Duty through Microsoft. They're just going to buy it just to play on Steam to keep it in the family, especially in their collection, their friends in the face. No one wants that Microsoft one. So it's going to be tricky. Tricky. But if anybody's in the chat that plays this on PlayStation, does this impact you? I would think not. Because if you have, it's all about, especially with a Call of Duty, it's all about your friends. It's all about playing with your buddies. You already got your squad and you do your bullshit and running around and stuff. If your friends are all on PlayStation, then you gotta stay on PlayStation. It's not gonna hurt you that it's $70 and other guys are paying, whatever, $14.99 a month, because you were gonna buy the shit anyway.
Yeah.
So
Blitz brings up a good point. He goes, if all they play is Call of Duty for months, then paying $70 is cheaper than playing for Xbox Game Pass. He's right about that. And Adam, you and I both know a lot of people, they only play two games, Call of Duty and Madden. That's all they play. Or maybe FIFA,
Oh, yeah, that's me.
So, go ahead.
And just to add, both of them will now be technically available via Game Pass.
Yeah. So what'll cost you less? Like, if you buy both of them, then Game Pass would be a better option. I don't know the math. What is Xbox Game Pass a year? 15 times 12. I don't know what that is. I'm not good with math. What the fuck is that?
Well, Ultimate is 16, right?
16. 16. So 16 times 12. What's that?
192.
All right. So, and then $270 games would be $140. So
here's a question. With any of the Sony tiers, can you share the service, those paid game services, like with multiple?
They're toe dipping. I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, I don't think so.
With the Game Pass, so I have my primary Xbox upstairs, and I have my old Xbox for my kids downstairs. and I have them linked to my Game Pass account, which is just one account.
Kishak says you can share. He says you could find.
Oh, you can't.
You can family share. You can family share.
Yeah, family share. Yeah, I was gonna say because that's one of the pluses of the whole thing is that the fact that I have Game Pass, but it also means my kids have it down there, so they can play all their games on the other Xbox. I don't have to worry about it while I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So I could be playing a game while they're playing a game, and it's not going to bump one of us off.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if Sony had that on any of theirs.
By the way, also it's a good point to mention. I think someone mentioned in the chat. You still have to pay for the online for PlayStation. I mean, if we want to do the calculus of how much it costs.
That is a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. That is very true. That is very true because you're paying $16 not only for the online service but for all those games. With PlayStation, you got to buy the games piecemeal and pay for the service. You know, That is a very good point. Very good point. So it would be cheaper on Xbox then.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm telling you, if this becomes a hit, if this works out with Call of Duty and all this stuff, and everyone's like, yeah. This has to put that fire under Sony's ass to make one of those tiers include at least 2 or 3 day one exclusives, right? You gotta do it.
Especially after all that shit talking they've been doing, like about how that devalues the games. If they do that, would be crazy. You know,
I don't think it devalues it because people are still paying you. Devaluing is just throwing it in there as like, plus service. No, if they're paying a premium, right? What's the top tier? How much is that a month?
I have no idea.
The top tier.
Somebody look into that.
Anybody have that top tier?
Yeah, who has the top tier of PlayStation? How much that shit costs? Let me look this up. PS tiers.
Too much.
They
cost too much.
Because that's the thing. It's like and that's going to be the first question anyone has about anything. It's like, all right. So this is $16. You get all this stuff. Okay. What about the PlayStation one? I got a PlayStation. What's the top tier? I didn't invest in. What's the top tier? And then you find out. All right. That also you would assume then because parity that then that must include all their first parties also, right? No, it doesn't. So what are you paying for? Your demos, right? I have a buddy of mine at work who's like, oh yeah, I get all the demos. Really? You're paying extra just to play some fucking demos? It's like.
All right, here's the numbers. This monthly, PS Essential, which is the lowest tier.
That's what we basically had.
$10. That's the lowest tier. Next up, we got PS Extra, PS Plus Extra, $14, right? And then the highest tier, Premium, is $18.
$18, and it doesn't include their first party.
No, not day one. Nope.
No, not day one. See, all right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. If this kicks off, if this really works, and everyone just jumps on Game Pass because they're like, so Call of Duty got this, and people are gonna say, well, what's their highest tier? PlayStation. How much you paying for that? And what are you getting? Are you gonna get that new God of War? Are you gonna get this new?
It's
going to put that fire. Yeah, it's going to put that fire. They're going to have to do it. I don't expect them to do it for all of them, but at least for 2 or 3 of them, you got to consider it. I don't think Spider-Man, but maybe if they do a Last of Us 3, or a Last of Us spin-off, which might happen, then just put that as, hey, top tier, you're part of it, you get that day one.
What's up, Rich?
Anything but The Last of Us, please. We don't need no more.
You know what? I'm all for The Last of Us if they go in a new direction. Because The Last of Us doesn't have to be with Ellie. They can go with a whole other crew. Go to Brazil.
Yeah.
The Last of Us Brazil.
Oh, that's what I was arguing. Policy.
Yeah, go somewhere.
Yeah, Chris was saying
Tell me a story in another land. Let's
go to Japan.
Japan.
Go to Japan. Imagine that.
We don't have.
Yeah, we don't want to go to Japan. Ubisoft,
No, we don't need to go to 1600, but we can go present day Japan, Tokyo, and all that. Seeing with all the like a sleeping dog situation, but with everything in ruins, that'd be dope.
Shibuya Meltdown, shout out.
Yeah.
Carlos knows what I'm talking about. Blitz goes, don't forget they offer yearly PS Plus for cheaper overall. Yeah, I could bring this up real quick. I'll go through it real quick. So yearly for the lowest tier, you're paying $79 or $80 for the lowest tier. The middle tier is $134, $135, and the highest tier is $160 for PlayStation. So there you go. Is that less than Xbox or am I tripping? Was it Xbox?
What was?
I'm bad with math. This one I'm a writer, right?
Based on the monthly numbers, I'm sure that the yearly numbers will be roughly the same.
Yeah, yeah, right. How much was Xbox again? I don't even remember.
16 change.
Yeah, but do they do a discount too if you do the yearly plan?
Yeah.
Yes, they all do a little discount. If you everybody's trying to get all the big lump sum up front, they'll take off like $5, $10 or something.
Yeah, Blitz says cheaper than Xbox and cheaper than paying monthly about PlayStation. That's what he says. Xbox has no yearly discount for Game Pass. That's what Kishak says. I can't verify because I don't have Xbox, so I don't know.
Yeah, I can't verify either because I use other methods.
All right, man, let's move on because we still got a lot of questions. Okay, it seems that so it's funny. What the fuck is that noise, man?
Where? Is that my kids?
I think I see your kids. You can just read it.
I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyway, it seems that insiders were wrong about Perfect Dark being in development hell. Yeah, it's coming. What did you guys think of the Perfect Dark reveal?
I liked it.
All right, yeah, Chris, go ahead, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't show too much of her, but I liked all the stuff they included. Like she was parkouring everywhere, which is neat. That's a neat little mechanic to throw in that, she has to evade, and there was some stealth. The gunplay was pretty good. She has bullet time, so Manny and I were making fun of it's a little Mirror's Edge, Max Payne thing going on. How she locked up her enemies and either used them as shields or shot the other ones. That's all neat. What I'm hoping they keep though, because remember this was an old Rare game on back in the day. I hope they keep a lot of that humor that was in the game. So David and I were joking about Elvis the alien. Like there was a literal gray alien in the old game, and it's like this cheeky thing where she breaks into Area 51 and she rescues him. I hope that kind of stuff is in there and it's not totally 100% serious. Like she's just badass, kicking Data Dine's ass and just killing people, But there was a humor in there that I hope is not lost in this remake. And also, I wanted to see more of she was just wearing some kind of paragliding outfit or whatever. She doesn't have the old her old spy outfit or anything. So I don't know if those costumes are in there or if they're considered a problem now and they're not going to add those. So that'd be kind of disappointing if they don't do a nod to the older games. But I like what I saw so far. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I also find it funny. It's Chris mentions it's an old Rare game. Microsoft owns Rare, but it's not being developed by Rare.
Yeah.
Just
no, go ahead. I was gonna throw things off topic real quick. Dreamcast guy is trending on fucking. You think I'm getting it bad on Twitter? He's getting it worse because he deleted his fucking tweet. Because he gave it. Okay. This is what he said. He originally said Xbox Showcase 4 out of 10. Remember this tweet? Then he deleted it. I didn't delete my shit.
You deleted it.
Yeah, he deleted it.
He wants to poke the bear, but he don't want to poke the bear. Tony poked the bear. So Tony says what he said.
Bring it. Let's go. I'm not deleting my fucking tweet.
That's right. Stand by what you said.
Yeah. Anyway, let's continue. So, go ahead.
As far as the Perfect Dark thing, I mean, there's nothing that didn't say, or it doesn't say that it's continuing to be in development hell. We didn't see a date, so we just saw we probably just saw a nice prototype level. But if this is indicative of what the game is going to be, this is looking cool. So it's nice to see it. Again, it's been a while since we heard anything about this game, and a lot of people saying all kinds of things going on behind the scenes, that they had to restart multiple times and all kinds of other funky stuff. So all power to them if they're able to pull this one off. By the way, did you notice that they had 2 names on that list of people developing?
Yeah,
it was the Initiative and Crystal Dynamics.
Crystal Dynamics, yeah. So maybe they brought Crystal Dynamics in because they were having issues. The Initiative,
because maybe because they were having issues and couldn't get it over the goal, line. So
back to Carlos, why did they bring in Rare?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Why didn't they bring? Why didn't they bring? Oh, I'll tell you why they didn't bring in Rare, because nobody who made that game even is there.
It's rare to find someone that was actually there.
Oh,
yeah. All those guys that made that game, they all made up their own studios. Remember that Balin Wonderland? Not Balin Wonderland. Whatever the hell that Banjo Kazooie was.
Oh,
remember that?
Yeah.
Nuts and bolts.
Ukulele.
Yeah, Ukulele. Remember that thing? They're all over there. They're all the original people who made that game are all over there. So.
Yeah, Jay Shep
ain't calling those guys up though.
Because he thinks the game doesn't look that good. To say, I'm being generous there. He goes, for my graphics nerds out there, if you make the game graphics look like shit, it's easier to get to 60 FPS. Yeah, if you lower the quality, obviously you're gonna get better performance.
Yeah,
if you lower the quality of performance, but I didn't feel it looked like shit. I thought it looked very colorful.
Yeah,
it didn't. To me, it didn't. To my eye, it didn't feel perfect dark. You know what I mean? Like, just that feel, that sort of espionage feel of the Perfect Dark games. But
yeah, most of the levels were at night in the old game.
Yeah, they're all at night. They're inside and stuff like that. So obviously, we're in a different era, so they obviously going to give her a bunch of cool looking new moves. So, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully, Crystal Dynamics is able to pull them out of the pit that they fell into, and get this game out on the field.
Yeah, I hope it turns out being good. I mean, like Chris mentioned, it looks a lot better than I thought it would, considering all the circumstances that Manny mentioned with having issues with the development. The Crystal Dynamics thing, I feel like it's. I mean, they have experience developing first person games. I mean, Tomb Raider one comes to mind. So hopefully, hopefully they can bust out something that's worth having. I mean, or worth playing. We still don't know when this game's going to come out. I mean, they got announced 2024. Kind of going back to the whole theme of the first topic, first question. Complaining about release dates. I mean. The game looks good. We got the gameplay. That's step one. And then give us an attainable date. And, it's 2020 is when we first heard of this game. 2024, and it's not going to come out in the next 12 months. So I can tell you that for sure. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this game. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be announced in the next year's press conference. And
Probably will be.
It goes back to my whole thing. It's like, it started with The Last Guardian. It's like all these Sony ponies were hyped up every time this fucking game was announced. It was announced like 5 different press conferences, and every time people were saying this was a megaton. People don't know shit. You can tell I'm still holding grudges over those conversations from years ago.
By the way, when the Last Guardian was re-announced. Final Fantasy, they only was saying that they were going to work on a Final Fantasy VII remake, and what was the other thing? Oh, Shenmue 3.
Yeah, that was a big year, man. I remember that we were at E3, right there, right, and fucking Charles Singletary lost his mind. And you gotta understand, Charles Singletary is a very stoic dude. He doesn't really emote. My man jumped up, when he announced that shit.
He was as loud as hip hop gamer.
He was, yeah. That was very interesting. All right.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't blame Charles, because that was like his first E3.
Oh yeah.
And imagine that your first E3 and they're making these big ass game announcements. Yeah. And then he got to meet. I pointed out Yu Suzuki.
Yeah, that was a good year, man.
I was like, oh my! I'm like, you didn't. I'm like, we were walking down the thing, and I'm like, oh, you guys missed out on Yu Suzuki back there. And he goes, oh shit, really? Yeah. And he runs back.
That's funny.
I'm like, yeah, we just passed by him.
Yeah. All right. The last question for Mob Hits. We still got more questions. The new Fable gameplay looked absolutely gorgeous. Will the franchise's character creator make a return? I don't want to play as that ugly bitch. So you like the game, you like the graphics, you don't like the girl. He goes,
it's for 2 seconds I thought that was you saying that, Tony. That sounded like
that's what he said. That's what he said. Yeah, no, he's the one that said that. I want to play as that ugly bitch. Go sorry, not sorry. Yeah, I would have other words about that, but yeah, that rough looking woman, and even that might be up for question.
Hold on, I thought we were talking about Fable and not Perfect Dark.
Excuse me. Damn. Yeah, that rough jaw. Yeah, people point that out. That Aloy jaw now. But this is what you get with Western games now, man. By the way, I didn't even say anything about Perfect Dark. I don't give a fuck about that game. Anyway, with Fable, I don't give a fuck about. I don't care. Fable, we'll have a character creator probably. I mean, that is a friend. So. Yeah, I mean, so yeah. Imagine if you're.
No.
So we're gonna assume. So if it's been a series staple, as you said, so yeah. All right, moving on here, Mr. Red Death, or AKA J Shep, got a bunch of questions here. Did Xbox win the showcase wars by default? Yeah, I mean,
by default.
By default they won. Go ahead, Rich.
Rich said it was a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second. What does he mean by war? There is no war. The console war is over.
Yeah.
What is he talking about?
The showcase wars of summer 2022, 2024. I mean, they won by default. Like, State of Play was shit. Summer Game Fest was even worse. So they won by default.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think
all they needed was Doom to win the
That's
showcase.
That's it. You could have just Doom and fucking Gears. That's it. You're good. You good. All right. So I mean, we don't need to go more detail. Obviously. The next question here is anyone on the panel planning on buying any of the Xbox Pros? Adam, I'm looking at you.
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yes. But not for me. But for my kid, because they use my Xbox One S. Yeah, that's a green Battlefield one that I bought many moons ago. And there's some games they just can't play that only work on Xbox S and X. Like that Gotham. Remember Gotham Knights? They don't give a shit about it, but still, there are some games that will require. So, I was already thinking about getting them the 1 terabyte, and my son, he's all about white console. He uses a white controller and stuff. So he's like, "Well, I want the white one." I was like, "White one only has the 512. It doesn't have a 1 terabyte." And then this gets announced, that the white one will have the 1 terabyte. So yes, I will be probably picking up the smaller one, but for the kids, not for me. I don't need the 2 terabyte. I have a 1 terabyte. I have an SSD 1 terabyte attached. So it is 2 terabytes then. I don't need it. There's nothing there. But for the kids, I'll get them the white S one, the 1 terabyte.
Yeah. Anybody else getting one of these updated Xboxes?
Not really.
Nope.
I like how Manny even ponders the question.
You know the answer, man.
I mean, I do just so happen to have at least 2 Xbox games.
Yeah.
So
you can play them on PC.
I can play them on the PC.
That's why I don't bother with Xbox. I'm like, I got something better here.
My other PC is my other laptop is relatively strong enough to run the games at a decent frame rate. Yeah. So with all the bells and whistles running. So yeah, but I don't think I'm going to be getting it. I mean, I'd probably be more tempted if the consoles were made smaller in the time that they've. It looked like they're just putting out the same bullshit, just with a better hard drive inside of it, right?
That's what it seems like.
They took out the drives, the actual disk drive.
Well, no, there's the sparkly the black Xbox. No, they're not. The black Xbox still has a disk drive on it, and then the two other
digital
ones,
series.
Yeah, they changed they showed both of them. Yeah, so the new X is like all sparkly, looks like a Starfield, and it has a disk drive, and then the white ones don't. Paris, shout outs to Paris. He actually showed them all on his on his Twitter account.
Yeah.
I didn't even know the S had a disk drive.
The S,
the Series S, the first one, the original one.
The Series. The Series S,
right?
Yeah, it was the digital console. So now they officially have an X that is all digital that can actually handle games, as opposed to that junk box of a Series S.
Oh, so it's got the more memory.
Yeah, it's got
Because
all.
that
It's got
was the issue.
Yeah,
It
they added
memory,
they added 2 terabytes of memory, and now you can get a full digital edition of the X now, where it can actually handle the games that it's running, as opposed to like.
See, I thought the 2 terabyte was like storage space, SSD space, but it's not. You're saying it's the memory for the.
No, it's SSD space. They have more space. They actually have more space than the updated PlayStation. Which
Oh, so now I'm confused. The series, all right. So the Series S that they showed, the white one.
Yes.
What is that then? I thought that was just the black one that we got, that 1 terabyte one, but just white. Because they didn't have a white one. But
no, yeah, I think for that one, don't quote me on, but I think the white S that we just saw, that is just a color variant.
All right, that's what I'm saying.
It's a color variant, and it probably has more memory on it.
I think that's more memory.
That's what. And then the other one, and now we're getting a full X, a Series X Xbox that is fully digital and has more space.
So let me read this. I went to Xbox Wire for this. Announcing the Xbox Series S 1 terabyte in Robot White, Xbox Series X 1 terabyte digital edition in Robot White, and Xbox Series X 2 terabyte Galaxy Black Special Edition. So that's what the three ones.
All right. So they didn't even add more.
Yeah. So they're all getting 2 terabyte upgrades, but now you'll actually have
Xbox. No. Series S is 1 terabyte, and so is the one without the disc. The only one that's 2 terabyte. The only one that's 2 terabyte is the Series X with the black one with the sprinklies. So.
Okay. To be straight, so the white X. That's all digital. Doesn't have 2 terabytes.
No, 1 terabyte.
No, and no extra memory, so it'll still have that issue with storage. The Baldur's Gate. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, guys. The two white ones are pretty much like the old. They all have the old memory in them, and then the new black X with the Starfield on it that has the 2 terabytes in it and the disk drive.
I'm going to read this. I mean, this is a little bit of a repeat, but Kishak, I want to give you a shout out for he posted all this up with the pricing. So let's go through that again. Xbox Series S,
good stuff.
1 terabyte in Robot White, $349 or $350, right? Xbox Series X 1 terabyte digital edition in Robot White, $450. And then the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte Galaxy Black Special Edition, $600.
Well, that S white one, that $350 is the same price as the black one that's out now. Same thing with 1 terabyte. So they didn't even change the price. Yeah, they didn't even change the price. They were like, all right, same different color, same price.
The same specs, right? They didn't change that's
all they did. Like you said in that one, it's just a color variant. It's just Robot White.
All right, so there you go.
They didn't do it. That 1 terabyte when it was announced was like, oh, special black one. That's how you know this is the one with the 1 terabyte. Yeah, because it's black. And so, but a lot of people do like the white one. I don't know why. I mean, I see my PS5 now, and it's fucking
dirty.
It looks horrible. I still should get those damn panels.
You should.
I don't like looking at it.
Yeah,
but I don't like white consoles. They get dirty.
I got the black panels now. It just blends into the background.
Yeah.
I did buy the what do they call it, the coverings for the PlayStation 5 in gray, but I'm tempted on the.
Did you see the D-brand ones? D-brand made
not the really D-brand. No, the PlayStation has them for $44 for the slim one. So I was thinking about picking. If they're down for $44 on PlayStation's accessory site, I was thinking of picking up the black ones too.
Yeah. All right, next question here, also from Jay Shep. There seems to be a great deal of PlayStation-only gamers who are frustrated with Sony's state of play compared to Xbox's showcase. One gamer stated that he wanted PlayStation to reveal good games and that it didn't matter if they were 2 to 3 years out. What are your thoughts on this? So I saw that too. So there's a PlayStation fanboys, so just be real, Okay, they're not all fanboys, I'll be facetious. But there were some PlayStation gamers that were legit upset. It's like, hey, how come our state of play wasn't as good as this? And I think that's a legitimate, thing to say,
Sony told us they didn't have anything.
They did, yeah. Talk to Sony.
They they said they didn't have any significant releases for this year, which means that it sounds like they cleared the board of a bunch of dead weight developments that they had behind the scenes, meaning that they're probably on at least a year or two off on anything.
Yeah. Remember, they said no new IPs this year. So talk to Sony. Talk to Sony. You got a complaint? Talk to them. Where your game's at. All right. Go ahead, Adam. What are your thoughts on that, man?
I just think people need to realize how short life is, and say, you know what? If there's a game you want to play on another platform and you don't think it's going to show up on something else, then figure out a way to play it. Get a used console on eBay. No one's going to pass judgment. If you got friends that are pass judgment and they see an Xbox or PlayStation in your cabinet, then they're not your real friends. That's bullshit. It's just, if there's a game you want to play, and I got my PS5, I love my PlayStation 5 exclusives. I'm playing that shit. I got my Xbox. I'll play the other bullshit that they're. I don't care. I play wherever the games are that I want to play. So I don't understand when they're like, I would say there's always well, you know what? Do you have the other one or a PC gamepad? Well, then there you go. You get the play the games you want and the services that you want. Don't stress. Don't stick on a bandwagon type of shit like this. There's no reason. These companies will all fuck you over at some point. They all do. They all do it. There's not one that's better than the other. So just find the games you want to play and play them, no matter where they are. If you really want to play them, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
That's it.
Since we got a question about this, I'll just jump in a bunch of questions here, but it's related. Was the Xbox Showcase, this is from Kishak, by the way, was the Xbox Showcase enough to force PlayStation to host another event this year, or will they just cruise until the end of the year? People on Twitter seem to think PlayStation better have an answer, but I'm just not convinced PlayStation gives a fuck. They're complacent now, man.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think they can.
I agree with that. Yeah. I agree. I don't think they will. They're not, Sony's gonna look at this. They probably don't care. They don't care. We
know from what we saw a few weeks ago with the whole PSN login requirement for the Helldivers, how they really don't give two shits about. Because then even after the back to that, and they were like, oh yeah, we got the Ghost of Tsushima coming out. You know what? That still requires a damn login. Meanwhile, it's like you saw the kerfuffle. They didn't give a shit. They want that data. They want to see what you're doing. It's all about getting as much information from the gamers as possible. They don't care. So they're not going to give a shit. They're just going to ride this out.
I agree that Sony is complacent, but I still think Sony is going to be showing more stuff this year. And it's not because of Xbox. It's because they already had planned to do that. They told us ahead of time, 2025, that's when we got all of our major franchises coming out. That means we got to see some more stuff before we get to 2025. I don't think they're going to wait until the start of 2025 and then start talking again. I don't see that happening. But we'll see.
Can I just say, Rich? You sound just like these Xbox fans a couple of years ago. They gotta have something next year, They gotta bring out a good conference next year, I'm waiting for next year,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, Rich, that's exactly what they said. And I also think that Sony is highly complacent, and I think the reason why is that everyone just hyped up all their exclusives, and now they ain't got anything. And I've been saying this for years. It's like, if all you want to do is just peddle these same games and the same things, you end up with nothing. Again, I've been saying for years that they don't have any good, diverse games. And now we're reaping the reward of them focusing on the Sony formula. I do think it's quite funny listening to people being upset at Sony for not having as good a conference as Microsoft does or did. And I think that's just the way things will be. Again, Sony doesn't really care. They'll keep doing whatever they want to do, and they'll keep making Last of Us remasters until people stop buying them. So, man. This is complacent Sony. I'm not surprised.
Yes, complacent Sony is complacent, for sure. By the way, just quickly going back to the Xbox Series X console, because, again, a lot of these questions kind of have overlap, so may as well just show them in there. So this is something that Kishak and Lego Bro, Mr. Lego Bro now, he's upgraded himself, asked. Kishak goes, now that Xbox is selling the Series X for $600 for 2 terabytes, will that pricing look foolish if the PlayStation Pro launches at the same price. You can get a 1 terabyte upgrade NVMe drive for $50 for the PS5. We don't, again, the PS5 Pro is still rumored. We don't know if that thing's even coming out or how much it'll cost. So that's still speculation, man. So we don't know.
Whoever gets this 2 terabyte, and I'm sure it's still going to have the expansion, and then they could add another 2 terabyte SSD, and then you got 4 terabytes. So if somebody needs it, because that's really where that extra price is. It's for that.
And it comes at a good time, especially with how big that Call of Duty is.
That's why I'm saying they should have had a Series S version just with Call of Duty. Just for Call of Duty. Like, this is the Call of Duty box. Oh, the designer, no, the whole shit. This game is big. The only thing I could think of is for anybody here, like myself, that we play these Call of Duties, that now they break it up into parts. You don't have to have the whole thing installed. You could just have the campaign installed. If you're done with that shit, you can delete it and then just have multiplayer installed. I'm assuming that's why they're going this big, because they're looking at the numbers. Again, it's all about the analytics and reading gamers' plays, and they can see what people are playing, what they're keeping installed on their hard drive, and like, all right, you know what? They know how to do this. They know how to uninstall a campaign when they're done and just keep multiplayer. So let's make it big. So then that way they could say, you know what? I'm just going to install the campaign for now, and then I'll beat that, then I'll uninstall it, and then install the multiplayer. All right, that works, but it still sucks at a glance when you see 3 and change gigabytes. And if you are with the smaller PS5 or the Xbox One that only has a 512, or that's, come on now. Even when it's formatted and you got nothing, that's like one game and maybe some small indies, and you're done. If you decide to install the whole damn thing. So,
yeah. All right. Another one from Jay Shep. Obviously, I let the limiters off. Ask many questions as you wanted. With Microsoft owning almost 40 studios, should we expect every Xbox showcase to get great reviews in the future?
What? No,
not really. Some are going to be better than others.
Yeah. And that's what I was amazed by this one, when it just said, Xbox Game Studios. It was just generalizing. I was like, well, we got a lot. So this is some people working from this one, and who knows? Maybe that's it. We'll just keep seeing it for the smaller ones. Of course, Bethesda, Activision, but with the smaller ones, we only knew later on when they would talk a little bit within the game, but they kept flashing just that, hey, Xbox Game Studios, we're making shit. They should put that in this logo, making shit.
We're making shit.
That's it, making shit. And I wasn't here for when you guys, and I wanted to jump on that one too, when they were doing the big layoffs and closing.
We talked about that. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not surprised. I was never surprised with any, because when you got all these studios, and then if you, especially with the epic failure of Redfall, and that they're not producing, and they even said, like, what are you working on next? Well, we had a 2-year plan for this damn game with DLC. We had no other plan. Well, then you know what? Out the door you go, because you cost way too much, and we screwed up. We had nobody managing your shit, and so I'm not surprised that we see it. It sucks. So for the employees, I really hoped. I mean, they said some people did, but that they grab talent and say, all right, we still need you. We got other projects. There's other studios needing people, but it sucks. But we see this with all mergers. All mergers.
They get rid of the redundancies,
The redundancies, just recently when WWE got bought by the Endeavor Group that owns the UFC, and they're like, oh, we're merging them. Well, you have your own marketing team. You don't need the WWE marketing team. You have your own HR people. You don't need the other one. It sucks, but this is what happens with mergers. Not everybody is kept.
Yeah, that's how it is, man. Again, it'll be, some showcases are going to be better than others, obviously. Just because they have all these studios doesn't mean you're going to get bangers all the time. And with as long as these games take to make, you shouldn't be getting that excited anyway. As I've said before, I said this, 2 years ago? I was like, I'm no longer trusting release dates, because we've had them broken many times. Very hard to gain. It's very hard to gain trust after you've broken it, and I have very little faith in these companies.
And none of that with all of this is also like a catch-22 with things. It's like we want something amazing, right? We want to be wowed. It's been a long time since we've been wowed.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like you got Call of Duty showing us something that's like it's 300 something gigs. Why so big? Well, you don't want compressed shit, right? You want 4K depth views, and this is what you got to get for it. So it's. I don't know. And then with the price of these games to develop, we're seeing these ridiculous numbers. I see why they play it safe, but man, maybe gamers are blamed for all this as well.
Oh yeah, we blame gamers many times for that. You're the ones that, why? Where's the multiplayer? Why isn't it open world? Why does it have an RPG system? Why this? Why that? That's why you get these Apple B games, as Chris calls them. Yeah. Everything's in it, you know. And I've always said, you know, because Brett specifically asked me, Adam. He was like, am I willing to sacrifice good graphics to get like a lower budget? It's like, no, don't fuck with graphics. Get rid of all that fluff. If you can give a 8 to 10 hour game, just like Gears of War, the original one, fine. You get the dope graphics and the tight, precise game. That'd be great. And then I can replay it a bunch of times. I'm not going to replay a 100-hour game with all that fucking fluff. I love Final Fantasy Rebirth, but 60% of the game could be cut. You know, it's too much. You know.
They try to throw it too much, and it's and there's so many modes. Like even Call of Duty has a shitload of modes. Most people don't even touch.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. To your point, Hellblade 2, stripped down game, nobody played it because like you said, gamers they want everything. You know, give me the fucking buffet table. That's what they want.
Like, oh, well, how come this one costs this and has all this and this one is like, all right, well, would you play all those other modes? Yeah. That's not the point.
Exactly.
That is the fucking point.
Exactly.
If you're not playing it, then what do you give a shit? Just play what you want. You like a big story, you can play about a story. This game is all fucking story.
Yeah.
Just play it.
Kishak, great point. Again, blaming gamers here. But Tony, then people would complain that a $70 game that's $70 game that's 8 hours is too short. Exactly. Yeah. See, you can't win, man. Can't fucking win.
Boardrooms, when they start talking, they're like, all right, well, what do people want? Well, this percentage wants this, another percentage. Throw it all there.
Throw it all.
Zombies, they still play that shit. Fucking zombies on there too. You know, all these bullshit games have to have some kind of zombie or something.
Yeah. All right, and the last question here from Mr. J. Shep. Will Xbox ever formally announce which of its published games will be on other platforms? I know you're not going to like this answer. It's going to be a case-by-case basis. They're going to hold that shit tight to the chest. They're not going to just flat out tell you, this is coming to PlayStation, this is coming to Nintendo, or whatever. They are going to tell you when they want you to know. So it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. And in some cases, they're going to get the developer tell you. They're not going to tell you.
Shit. You know what? I was wondering when and I thought about that one too. I'm sure others did with all this, because as we know from publishers, they deal with money. We're seeing with Square Enix now going multi-plat with a lot of their games. It's all about the money. How much is Sony paying? And I wonder if Microsoft's pulling that too. If it's like, hey, we said we would bring these games to you, right? We're not locking it down, but just like it was when they were independent publishing, what's the money? How much are you willing to pay for this new Skyrim? Mm-hmm. You know, they can always do that. And if someone bitches and like, hey, they want to pay, you know, we're not holding it behind anything. They just said it's not worth paying.
Yeah. So the answer to the question is simply no. They will never formally announce that shit. They're going to do it on a case-by-case basis, make you wait, and sometimes they're going to let the developer do it. You know, that's how it is. They don't. You know how the game industry is. They don't reveal things. They like to just keep things as tight. Think about it like this. You know for a fact Call of Duty comes out every single year. But if you ask Activision, are you going to drop a new Call of Duty this year? You know what they're going to tell you? We're not talking about Call of Duty right now. Knowing full well they're releasing a fucking Call of Duty. This industry is very secretive, so they are not going to tell you ahead of time. No fucking way, you know? Throwdown Show, which of those games shown will be day and date on PlayStation and Ready? Who knows, bro? We'll find out. We'll find out when it happens.
Well, I would think the EA games, the EA and stuff like that.
Go ahead, Rich. Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I was going to say which game. We know Call of Duty is because Phil Spencer said
that'll be on PlayStation.
Call of Duty will be everywhere at launch, and it's already live on PSN right now. You can pre-order Call of Duty. So yeah.
Yeah.
The Fallout 76 expansion, that new one, that's going to be on all of them. 'Cause that's what keeps that service alive. So that'll be on everything.
Yep, pretty much. All right, man. Moving on here to make it. I see many of the Xbox faithful giving the showcase a 10 out of 10, while non-Xbox fans seem pretty unimpressed. Is this the issue with Xbox, i.e. catering to the same old crowd? Or is it that some Xbox fans are just yes men who are, if it's not terrible, it's the best one yet?
This is people picking their teams.
Yeah.
You want the Mets or the Yankees? Doesn't matter who they sign. You already picked the side. Where are you from? I'm from the Bronx. I gotta go with Yankee. I'm from Queens. It's the Mets. It's just the way it is. It'll always be like that. Always be like that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this could have been the wackest show ever. They would hype it up.
Yeah. Yep. You know? Doesn't matter. That's their home team.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. There was a serious lack of Japanese developed games in the showcase. Even Square Enix only had one of its Western games shown. Has Xbox given up on Japan in addition to closing their only Japanese studio with Tango Gameworks? Xbox? Yeah, go ahead, Manny. Go ahead.
Have they given up on Japan? I definitely think they, not so many words, yes.
Yeah,
because,
I agree.
Because again, like, why would, number one, you literally have a studio that has the lineage of Tango Gameworks, and you just fired them, and Phil even had this silly, what was it? During this thing, it's like, oh, I had to make really hard decisions. Then why the fuck did you go all the way over there to tell them that they're okay and we want to see more of these types of games? He didn't plan that shit. He was trying to get a, then again, putting that whole spiel out. Oh yeah, we want to have more of a thing in Japan. Well, what is it? Just you have one deal with Kojima and then you close your only Japanese studio? Come on, man. But to be honest, their real bread and butter is not Japan.
It's not.
It's not even.
They sell like two fucking Xboxes over there.
Not even for Japanese studios.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they're doing Western. They're getting rid of turn base and doing all that, trying to make their games more Western.
Yeah. So I don't think it's that they've given up on Japan. I think, I most definitely think that they've given up on Japan because it's like they can't get ahead over there, so they're just not going to deal with it. And maybe that's another reason why they decided to close Tango Gameworks, because they knew it wouldn't. They knew apparently they probably wouldn't do enough to push the needle to try to pull more gamers from Japan.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Mobhit says, isn't Sega a Japanese developer? Doesn't Xbox have a partnership with them? They don't have exclusives with them, though.
No, they have a partnership just like Sony and Nintendo does with them. So they, as far as the games that they're going in it, and obviously people want to bring up that Yakuza thing. Where Yakuza was exclusive for a little while. That wasn't on purpose, by the way. They didn't do that on purpose. It was just the way things sort of happened. Yeah. And they ended up having an exclusive like that.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. Yeah,
which is kind of stupid on both ends. Them not realizing this kind of happened.
Yeah. Anyway. It was similar to the Capcom thing with the Dead Rising. Remember, they did that one exclusive Dead Rising for that, but then they also Sony got the Street Fighter. Got that one. So,
I think what's going to happen is, because Xbox, like every 10 years, they try to make inroads with Japan. It's going to fail because the Xbox fan base doesn't care about those type of games. And then they'll forget about it for a while and then try again later. We're going to get that lip service again. Oh, we're trying hard to get on, we're trying hard to get Japanese gamers on. We're trying hard to get these Xbox games on and then this shit never fucking works. Remember on the Xbox 360, they had the fucking, Blue Dragon, Infinite Undiscovery, all these fucking games they failed. They didn't buy the fucking games.
They literally had the creator of Final Fantasy on there.
And nobody gave a fuck.
Nobody gave a fuck. How is that possible?
Because
they
want the pew games. That's why,
Yeah, and even that, even then it was like, but it's like, that's one thing I do appreciate about that era of Xbox was where they were legitimately trying to catch some people, but apparently people just really, really wanted to just be so it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's like there's only so long to you to keep serving food for a certain type of audience, and they don't want to eat.
Yeah.
You could have the best food in the world, you just keep serving it to them and it still doesn't get anywhere. So my guess is what's going to be on the world of Xbox is the games that are very much more Western centric. So people recognize the Yakuza games. They do pretty decently on there. They're somewhat acceptable in the Western world. They got Yang doing
Young out.
They got Yang doing the voice acting for her. The YouTube kids love that. So that's it. I think it's just going to be baby steps, and it's going to be baby steps, and it's going to be expected baby steps. It's just going to be, hey, look, we got the new Sonic. That's a Japanese game, right? It's like that.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, man. Let's move it on here. Foolish Pupil, who's been hanging out with us in the chat. Of all the games shown during the Summer Game Fest and Xbox Showcase, which stood out the most to you? Toon Medic, our boy Michael Santiago, also asked this question. Doom, Doom, whatever, the new Doom, that's good. Gears, right?
Yep.
And fucking Monster Hunter, obviously. Monster Hunter Wild, give me that fucking game.
Monster Hunter Wild,
and you're a part of the problem with all your sequels. Around.
Well, Benny, that's all they're giving me, man. That's all they're giving me.
I know.
The turn-based. I can't remember the name, but that turn-based one.
Oh, the French game, right?
That
33 game.
33 game.
Is that an exclusive game?
No, that's coming to PlayStation. That's coming to PlayStation.
Okay, so then
I could have swore that had the Game Pass though.
It does, but
it's coming to Game Pass.
It's coming to Game Pass, but it's not exclusive.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You know what? I'll go.
Most of the games.
I'll go down the line here. Adam, what were some of the games that you saw that were highlights from everything that we've seen in the last 3 days?
Oh, from the last, there was only one game in the showcase, that horror game, right at the beginning of Summer Games Fest that they showed, the co-op horror game where you're walking around and it's dark and it's like people attacking and you're trying to get it. It looked really. It reminded me of Condemned. That Sega game Condemned. Remember when you're walking around like, with a flashlight? That's what I figured. So I was really excited for that one. So that one stood out to me, and that was the only one for that one. And then for this, like we said, Doom. Of course, that was amazing. Gears, but who knows when that'll come? But at least we know Doom is this year. And the 33, there was one in that Perfect Dark surprised me. I played the original. I didn't. I mean, they didn't leave much of a memory. You guys remember the little robot, whatever that shit. I had poof over the head. Nope. But I like the design. I like the fact that with the parkour elements, I was a big fan of the Mirror's Edge games. So to see that come back in this way, I was in on it. So that's pretty much it. It wasn't a lot, because that's the thing. It's like there was a bunch of games. It doesn't mean it's for everybody.
Yeah.
And a lot, not for me, but I'm sure some people would have them. Life is Strange. Like I said, my daughter likes those. So I'm like, there's an audience for all these things. We pick and choose. You can't expect to jump in and like, I want them all. And no, we don't. We don't want them all. They're not on Starfield. Fucking who cares? The Fallout 76 stuff, I could see myself jumping into that, and spending some time and then losing all my stuff and then stop playing. And that's pretty much it. I don't think there was anything. The Flight Simulator looked cool. I always say I want to play that shit, but have you ever boot up Flight Simulator?
Yeah, I booted it up. I booted it up.
It's so overwhelming.
Yeah, it really is.
The control panels, and I'm like, all right, I'm done. I just needed a lever and just go. I can't do that. I gotta press all these buttons. Nope. I did like that Age of Mythology. I used to love those Age of Empire games. Those are always fun, but it takes time. And I know a part of me is going to want to play it, and I'm not going to play it. It's just, I'm going to be too overwhelmed. I'm like that. I mean, we're probably all like that. You look at your backlog, you have tons of shit to play. And then you go to your default game. I have tons of shit to play. If I'm not reviewing a game, I'm like, I'm going to play this. I'm going to finish this. You know what? I'm just playing some FC. And next, I'm at like 400 hours of just kicking a ball around. Because it's so overwhelming when you start thinking of all the other stuff. So.
Yeah,
those are the only ones. But Doom, man, there's always time for
Doom. Yeah, you already know. Doom.
There's always time for Doom.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris, since you're already talking.
No, I'm shocked you didn't bring up Skate.
I did not, because that was all right. That's not Skate 4. that is that free to play, and that's what they made it into. And I have a feeling they're just going to nickel and dime everybody. This is something that I could see eventually attaching onto Fortnite. I don't know if you guys know, but Fortnite has turned into the Roblox. They now have all these other studios making games for them. You got the Lego game, Lego Racing, all these. I see my son playing. It's like all these different games. I'm like, oh, so it's no longer just a battle royale, and it is not. There's different games inside the game. And so when I see this skating game, and I was like, yes, I wanted to skate 4. No, you're gonna create a guy, they're gonna milk you for all the cosmetics and boards and all this stuff. You're gonna have to pay for it. It's a free to play. And that's a letdown. That's not what I want. I just want out the box a story, a bunch of shit, and then that's it. I don't want to have to feel that, everything I want will eventually be like bird fed to me and with a price. And that's upsetting. So yeah, no, that's why I'm not excited for that one. Sad.
Yeah. Manny, what games did you like? You're muted.
So let's see. From the summer Game Fest thing, I would have to say, man, it wasn't a lot, but I mean, the Mecha Break did kind of look cool.
That looks cool.
Gundam looking.
Yeah, the Gundam Macross type of game. Yeah.
Yeah, the Gundam Macross looking type of game. I thought that looked interesting, but I don't know how much I'm really that interested in playing it. I'd like to see a bit more of that. There was a game in the showcase. There was a couple of games that have really nice looking art styles to them, but again, not really that really interested in the actual game. I think it was called Frag Funk. I thought I think that as far as nice looking looter shooter type of games, PvP type of games, I feel like that looks way better than that PlayStation one that they kind of showed the last time, which had a really boring character design. But not that interested in playing that game. I thought the South of Midnight, a couple people in here, obviously most of us were complaining about the frame rate on that one. I do have to say, I do again like the art style, but I'd like to see a little bit more, and I'd like to see them go to a higher frame rate than 15 for the cinematics, because it really is kind of jarring.
Awful.
But as far as games that I'm really interested in, obviously I will say Metal Gear Solid 3. And what was I was impressed with the Perfect Dark game, but it's also not my thing. I'm not into first person sort of titles. And what was the other one? I mean, to be honest, I would say actually I would only really be playing like maybe and Gears of War. I'd probably only be playing like 2 games on there, like that what I could see me actually picking up. For the rest, they just aesthetically look nice, some of them. So that's about it.
Yeah. All right, Carlos, you're next.
Go
ahead, Adam, real quick, and then Carlos.
I was just thinking someone you were reading off your list, and I was like, maybe the reason why we didn't.
Later, Jay Chef. Thanks for hanging out, man. He goes, great seeing you again, Adam.
Yeah, you too, guys. Thanks. Is that what if it's just like a Contra type of thing? Remember where they just took the games and did a nice little interface, but it's the old games, or like what we just recently got with the Metal Gear collection that Konami did, where they did pretty much no touch-ups. They just put like a new overlay. And they did. And maybe that's why they're not advertising it. Maybe most people are expecting too much. We're assuming that they're upgrades. And then what if they're not? This is just ports that they figured out how to get it to work on a console and on a PC, and they slapped on a little interface like the Master Chief Collection. I'm like, there you go. All right, that's all. Good, go ahead.
Yeah, Carlos, you're next, man.
Yeah. From Summer Games Fest, there really wasn't anything for me. I mean, the what's it called? The Aloy Horizon stuff was, I understand how that could be appealing to a lot of people, but it was just not Lego for me. Game?
Trash.
Yeah. Also, I just to go back to Summer Games Fest, and maybe Rich can clarify some of this, because I think you mentioned some of this in chat.
That's a day one on PC. That's a PlayStation exclusive day one PC. That Lego one.
Well, but it's
coming to Switch as well.
Oh, it is? Okay. I got the PC.
This isn't
PlayStation games on Switch. Sony. What the hell?
Yeah. But so Rich, here's a quick question in between my answer.
Yeah.
The whole Arkham Asylum VR thing, was it over exaggerated? How people were disappointed about that announcement?
That absolutely is not over exaggerated. There was a lot of disappointment because you heard when Jeff was talking and he said, "Yes, we're going to be talking about another Batman Arkham game." There were people that were very excited. As soon as he said Batman Arkham, and then when it said VR, you could see the energy rise up and then fall apart right there in a quick moment. Right. So yeah,
this is the second one. Remember, they did a Batman VR one.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the second Batman Arkham VR, which I don't think Kevin Conroy's in this one.
Did you guys talk about that with the Rocksteady? That the two original guys they bounced, they left.
They
bounced before the release of that last Kill the Justice League game.
So then there goes the whole
Paradise.
Rocksteady. That's it. It's like whatever happens. It's no longer, you can't say, "Oh, well, this is the Rocksteady that brought the other."
No, and my favorite one was that they were like, "Oh, and it has their what is it? They're gonna make a new studio that makes narrative driven games." So it's like, weren't you guys doing that at Rocksteady? No, you weren't. Oh, okay, you weren't.
Yeah. Going back to the games that I did enjoy, definitely Doom. I mean, that shield with the chainsaw shield would look crazy. So I can't wait to get back. Doom Eternal was one of my favorite games of that year. So I have full faith that this team can deliver. Hopefully, the 33 game. What was the name called? A game called Expedition 33. That was an interesting game. We're talking about how it's a sort of a twist on the JRPG, but done by a Western studio. So that looked pretty cool. So it's something that I don't know for sure that I'm getting, but it piqued my interest and it's in my radar. That one Souls-like game looked pretty cool too. And also I do want to mention Perfect Dark, even though obviously I like the N64 game. The 360 game was not good, but this one, just what was presented today, looked way better than whatever I was anticipating. But what I was anticipating was pretty low. So, but hopefully, it's something good. But it piqued my interest, and I think Mecha Break as well looked pretty interesting. Yeah. Wouldn't say it blew my mind, but it looked pretty cool. And Gears, I mean, just the fact that it's a prequel instead of Gears 6, and also hopefully we'll get the introduction to the roadie run.
Yeah, that's it. The origin of the old roadie run, man, it's coming.
That's it. Oh man, if they really bring the origin, because remember Cliffy said that he was watching a war documentary and that there was a camera guy following someone, and that's where the roadie one came in. There's a guy with the camera. Imagine if that happens, where Marcus is talking to in combat, and there is that scene, a camera guy with him, like, "Come on, let's go," and the guy behind him, like, "Oh." But I forgot Indiana Jones. I am excited for that, just for the story though. I just want to play. I like the machine gun. I was just looking at Machine Head.
Machine games.
I love all those Wolfenstein games. They know how to make a first-person shooter, and they know how to
they're sticking to Nazi games.
That's fine. This works great.
Adam, I did it. So I for most of the trailer was okay. That one scene where the one German soldier does that. I forgot what he says. He just goes the over the top shit that he does. You know what I'm talking about? That scene in the snow.
The Wait, before he got thrown off the cliff or something like that?
Yeah, he does that over the top, and I'm like, do we really need that type of humor? I understand that Indiana Jones has some of that, but that even seemed over the top from.
Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe they're just trying to stick with the time period and with some of that stuff. I mean, who knows?
We'll see.
Who knows? Yeah, we'll see. But it just seems like it's something fun. I don't expect it to be long, maybe 6-7 hour campaign, and that's it. Yeah, just have that experience. Crap to whip around someone's neck, pull it, kill some Nazis, and then call it a day and uninstall it.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So I made a little list here. Carlos, you done your or?
Yeah.
All right. So because I didn't bother watching fucking Summer Game Fest, but I looked at what we're showing there. Okay. So Black Myth Wukong, obviously, you already know. Mecha Break, I'm interested in that. We'll see, because I saw it has a closed beta, which means multiplayer, which kind of raises my suspicion right there. So we'll see.
I thought the game was like a PvP game.
Wait, it's no story element whatsoever?
I was not getting a hint of that. Hence why I'm surprised, Tony, that you even mentioned it.
I just saw mechs flying around. I thought it was like a story based type of. If it isn't, then that's getting dropped off the list. I no interest in playing some PvP shit. Fuck that.
I could be wrong, but
no, you're right, because there's a closed beta. There's a closed beta. It's a closed beta for it, Brian. I think you're right, man.
Yeah, because I was getting like the strong hint about it's a multiplayer game. Because again, they showed off the mech, and then they showed up. You can customize things, and then they showed off what seemed to be like different classes of some sort. So I was like, it's a PvP mech game. Skip.
Here we go, Brian. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Steam listing. It said right here, Mecha Break is a multiplayer mech game that allows players to choose from diverse mechs. Done. Take that off the list. Don't care. Fuck that shit. Done. All right. Moving on here. Monster Hunter Wilds, like I said, interested in that, obviously. This one is kind of cool. I didn't hear anybody talking about this. Terry Bogard and Mai Shiranui are in fucking Street Fighter 6. This is cool.
I didn't mention it because I have absolutely no interest in any of those new Street Fighter games. So
yeah, but to be fair, you did bring it up during the live stream earlier today. But I didn't see anybody in the chat you're talking about. I'm like, ooh, that's kind of cool. Because it's like you've never seen. In a main Street Fighter game, there's never been a crossover with other franchises, like outside of Capcom. That's never happened.
Fatal Fury game coming.
There's a new Fury. Yeah. So I'm like, City of Wolves. Yeah, go ahead, Manny.
But the one thing about it is that people forget that the creator of Street Fighter created King of Fighters and he created Fatal Fury.
Although I will say, and I said this when SNK versus Capcom came out, I'm like, it was a little too late, isn't it? Like, this shit would have been a way bigger deal in the 90s when, like, Fatal Fury, and Street Fighter are kind of going head to head, But I think it's cool. I they didn't show any gameplay that I'm aware of. I could be wrong about that.
They're not going to show any gameplay because those characters are all far off.
Yeah, they're far. They're far off.
Mai and Elisa and all those are like 2015. The only one that's like now is Bison.
Who's Elisa?
She's from Street Fighter 3.
You mean Elena?
The African girl. Elena, the African girl from Street Fighter 3.
Yeah, we saw M. Bison. Cool stuff. All right, so from the Xbox showcase, Doom, whatever, Dark Ages, I believe it's called. You already know. Yeah. Gears, obviously, whenever that comes out. Expedition 33, like you guys said, I'm intrigued about that. Metal Gear Solid 3, you already know. And Carlos, the game you're looking for is Wu Chang. That's the Wukong type of game. Looks interesting,
it even sounds named.
Exactly. Very interesting. All right. Brian, what games stood out for you from both of these shows? And even the PC game showcase, that happened too,
Yeah, it did.
Throw that in for extra credit.
Okay. Summer Game Fest, firstly, I have to say I did like how it was lots of small studios. So again, I'm always a big fan when small studios get shown on these showcases, because again, they don't really get enough praise and enough media attention. So I did like that, and I was surprised at just how many games were made by one developer. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. That's cool. Again, it's nice that that these guys are getting like some airtime. So I cannot complain about that. I can't complain how the fact that I don't remember seeing a single racing game in anything so far.
Nope, I didn't see any.
Like zero. So I was like,
I guess depends on how you see Flight Simulator.
Well, because we just had last week the Need for Speed Unbound got some new season.
Don't care about that game.
But that's EA. Yeah. That's what EA is doing, and then of course Forza with Microsoft did their thing. So that's pretty much it. I mean, the crew, whatever that shut down.
So yeah, I was just surprised at that. In terms of games, again, Monster Hunter Wilds, cannot complain about that. Looking good. Super excited. Again, Gears, it just depends how close to the first one they actually get. Like, if they do something very similar to the first one mechanically and just in Unreal 5, I'm good with that. I played the remastered of the first one and I was like, this game is actually really damn good.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun. The Extraction or Expedition 33, the E33 game, I'll call it that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right.
What about Path of Exile 2? That looked cool. Are you interested in that?
That's a Brett game.
That's a Brett thing. I've never liked Path of Exile, but the one game that none of you guys have even talked about, Stalker. That was shown.
Starfail, that was shown. Yeah. Don't care.
No.
Oh, the Stalker.
Oh, Stalker. I don't care about that.
Stalker 2.
Yeah, I don't care about Stalker either.
Yeah, of course you don't. But anyway, I do, and I was like, okay, we got a date. It looks cool. I'm excited to actually play it. So
September.
There were a few games, but just lack of racing games is weird.
Yeah. Chris, you're up.
Okay, so from Summer Games Fest announcement, I did like, me and the horror games. I like that Slitherhead game. I was curious about that. It looks like Parasite.
From the creator of
Silent Hill
Rush and Silent Hill.
That looks interesting. I like that. That Power Rangers beat 'em up. It looks like Shredder's Revenge.
Oh, that's what my son saw when he was like, "Oh, they copied the Ninja Turtle game."
Yeah, it just looks like. Well, it has other modes though, but it looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, the color design and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
one thing about that one is that it's not that one, and the Toxic Crusaders game is not listed for any console releases. They're both PC games, at least for now.
I don't play it in the Steam Deck then.
Yeah.
I'll do that. There was another game. The Stanley Parable guys made a game. It was like Wonder or something.
Well, what about the other one? The guys that did Persona came out. They had their own game. That was kind of cool. Cool.
Yeah. So there was a few things in there I like, but they're small things. But I was very interested in those. From Xbox, definitely Doom was a big highlight. Gears of War was huge. The Wu-Chang game, I like that. I liked Atom Fall. That looked cool.
That's right.
So I'm curious about that. Expedition 33, like you guys said, I like that a lot. So that would be interesting. I mean, I don't know. I have to wait and see with Indiana Jones. I don't know how I feel about that game still. Okay. So I'm just like, you could bait me with this. I don't know if that's the experience we're gonna get. So I'm gonna pass. And Perfect Dark. I thought just like Carl said, what we saw looked really good, and I thought, like Adam thought, like that game wasn't even happening. It was just. Not, and I saw it. I'm like, oh shit, it's like Perfect Dark, and it was right. So yeah, and what they showed, that was pretty good. I'm not too sure about the story or anything, but I'd like to. Hopefully, they give us some more. Just wait for Gamescom. That's the message of this whole show. Just wait for Gamescom.
And the best for last, Richard Bailey Jr. What games, what games interest you the most from everything you've seen out there?
Okay, it might not be the best, but it's definitely going to be a little controversial. So, first and foremost, Summer Game Fest. I'm right there with Adam. The game he's talking about, No More Room in Hell 2. That's that zombie game. Yeah, that looks fantastic. It's all Unreal Engine 5. So looking forward to that. Another game that I'm surprised nobody mentioned, Phantom Blade Zero. And that's actually Carlos. There you go. Well, there you go. That's why I wasn't mentioned.
Oh, I missed that one. I did one. I had forgotten. I did like that too. I did like.
Oh, yeah, we're good.
Let me look this game up real quick. Keep going, Rich.
Yeah, and I will admit that I am biased because I'm actually going to play that demo tomorrow.
Oh shit!
Well, I will obviously have more to say about that later. But yes, for Summer Game Fest. Last point I will say, I agree 1,000% with what Brian said about the decision to have these very small studios get some spotlight, because some of those games created by one person were actually pretty interesting. And I also will say I am not a fan of Among Us, but I do like what they're doing as far as funding other studios and getting their games attention. So that was pretty interesting. I got to give them credit for that. Moving on to the Xbox showcase. Okay, Doom, yes. I think we can all agree that's a day one. Gears, yes, I did enjoy that. I actually am intrigued by South by Midnight, but yeah, I definitely need to see more. Like Manny said, I have the same mindset. I need to see more. I was surprised we even saw a gameplay for that to begin with, because the last time we saw that, it was the cinematic trailer.
Yeah, later, Logic wins. Thanks for joining us, man. He says, shout out to you, Adam. All right, keep going.
Later, man.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree, Expedition 33, that was a game, there wasn't a leak for that. So I was very surprised to see that. And yes, Adam mentioned earlier that Persona game, I think it's Metaphor. I'm looking forward to that.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Now I'm into Persona after playing Tactics. So yeah, I look forward to that. Let me see. Lastly, oh yeah, Metal Gear Solid. Yes, that's obvious. Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. I actually have been playing that game because they released a demo for that. I don't know if it's out for everybody, but it is supposed to be coming out soon. That's another Souls-like stylized action RPG made by the same people that made Ashen. That game is actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be from what we saw initially. So I give a shout out to that. Perfect Dark, yes, definitely Perfect Dark. I'm almost there. I'm checking my list.
Check it twice, you know.
Yeah, check it twice.
Everybody here has a good amount of games that they are interested combined from all these shows.
Yeah, from combined,
there's at least 4 or 5 that the people are hoping come out. Whether they come out this year or not, that's up for debate right now. But there's some coming that we're excited for.
Oh yes, so 2 more. Wu Chang, yes, and I was a little confused when I saw that title.
Yeah, Wu Chang. Wu Chang clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Right? you know, they come out.
Exactly. I was surprised with that title because it sounds very similar to Wukong, but very interesting. Looking forward to that. And lastly, and again, to quote Tony, I know Tony won't care about this, but I am also right there with Brian, Stalker 2, because that is a game that clearly there's been a lot going on with that game as far as the development and the studio, all the stuff happening over there. So I'm glad that is coming out. It's actually coming out in September, and it looks pretty interesting. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Good stuff. All right. Were there any games that you were looking forward to that weren't shown? I don't have an answer for this one, so I'll count myself out. Because I went in there with no expectations.
That was the only thing that I was expecting. The collections for sure, because and that didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. There was something else though. Damn. Yeah, I'll keep going. I know there was something else.
Yeah, but actually, real quick before we move on, Mob Hit says, why didn't anybody mention State of Decay 3? Maybe because we're not anticipating it?
Oh, well, because State of Decay 3 is not what we think it is.
Uh-oh.
That was the whole thing. If you guys look, he probably already knows. It's like they scrapped the development like a few months ago of that game. They're like, forget it. It's off the books. We don't know what's going on. They scrapped it, and then they said we're going to go back to the drawing board. That they were going to go in a different direction, more of like a Last of Us or Days Gone. They were going to go in that approach, as opposed to the whole micromanaging of a group and getting food, keeping them alive, all this stuff. Because it just they couldn't figure it out, so they scrapped it. So when we saw this whole sentiment, this could have been in the box already from when they were going to go in that direction still. But we didn't see actual gameplay because I have a feeling everything's just going to be different from the way they had described it. And once we finally see it, whenever this does come out, it's going to be a completely different game. And I'm pretty sure there's got to be some articles about that part, about how they wanted to go in a new direction. But that was one of the ones, just like the Perfect Dark and stuff, that they were like, yeah, we're cutting this. I remember there was a whole review about like all these studios that were dropping a Fable, a few of them that they were like, hey, we're scrapping. We don't know what we're doing. This isn't working, or we have no direction yet. But State of Decay was one of them, because that's been back and forth where how they want to develop the story, what they were going to do, and then they like scrapped it off. So I was really amazed to even see the video that we saw, but I was like, all right, unless I see gameplay, this is something. This is already canned. This isn't what we're going to see as a final product.
So
I wanted to bring up something.
Go ahead,
look, so Black Myth Wukong was announced, at the Summer Games Fest. Did you know that, at least for now, it is a PlayStation exclusive?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's only for it's for PC, and then the console, they released a short-term console exclusivity. Not to mention, the game is also $59.99.
Interesting. Bucks. A PS5 exclusive, right?
Huh?
Not on PS4?
It's not on PS4.
Okay.
It's on PS. So yeah.
So
interesting.
So I do have a comment to make about that, and maybe that story is still developing, but I heard that they are still optimizing the Xbox Series X version, so they don't know when that's going to come out. It could come out later, but it's definitely coming to PS5 and PC on August. So
are they having that Series S issue again?
Mm-hmm. So in other words, so Sony didn't make the deal. It's just the fact they couldn't get that.
They couldn't get it. Yeah.
Run on a.
It's like a Baldur's Gate 3 situation.
Excuse me.
It's a Baldur's Gate 3 situation. I want to read some of these real quick off from the chat because they answered too. Mobhead says South of the Wild. That's that horrible FPS frame game. Mixtape says Philly Fred. Mixtape looks. That's another one with horrible fucking frame rate. State of Decay 3. Co-op Power Rangers game. Another one for Mixtape. Oh, that's also Philly Fred. Wu-Chang Clan. All right. So yeah, any games that you were expecting that didn't get shown? Again, I wasn't expecting anything, so I don't have any
I'm
answer.
surprised they didn't do the easy win. Like I mentioned, they didn't show Elden Ring. They didn't do another.
Yeah,
nothing.
Mob Hit says Avowed looked good too. Yeah. Did anybody care about Avowed?
Oh, wait, I did know. The new Mafia game.
Oh, you were expecting that. Okay.
I was expecting at least some kind of hype for it because the news was spreading that, right? Rich, we were talking about that. They were spreading some news about some new direction they were going in. So I was expecting to see something.
Yeah, and instead, that 2K game ended up being Civilization 7. So, yeah.
Grand Theft Auto. I was expecting to see some trailer. No release date or anything.
Rockstar's going to do their own thing. They're going to have their own showcase.
Yeah.
You know?
But, for 2K, I figured they'd do something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Rich.
My answer to this question, it will be an answer that will be relevant, I think, within the next 24 hours. I'm disappointed that we're not going to see Splinter Cell tomorrow because I'm just going to make that prediction now. We're not going to hear any other details about this game or see anything in the Ubisoft presentation. So let's just brace This is brace for that now.
I still think these people over there baffle me. It's like they're on the internet. They read this. They see the demand. Were the sales that bad for Splinter Cell that they have to completely ignore everyone? It's like they just come out and say it, but like, hey, we can't do it because it doesn't sell. Sorry. Give us a reason for it, because this is just, they'll put out all these other bullshit games. They'll cancel the Division and all the other bullshit that they were doing with it, and it's like, whatever.
So this Ubisoft thing is tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Tony, are you going to watch it? Because you know that our favorite game will be on there.
I know, but thankfully I'll be working, so I won't have to watch it.
Oh, I will send you like the video of the Just Dance section, because I know you'll enjoy it as much as I do.
Of course, yeah, the Just Dance, gotta have that. Ubisoft, man.
Speaking of that, are you guys excited for that Outlaws?
No, I don't give a fuck about that game. It was terrible.
Yeah, Star Wars?
Yeah, it looks terrible. Fuck that.
Because that's the Ubisoft game.
Yeah, no, fuck that. I don't care.
Yeah, no.
Fuck that shit.
No.
Nope. All right, moving on here. Kishak, after this week of gaming news and events, are gamers more interested in glamorous showcases or a roadmap with no dates and CGI trailers that don't show gameplay? I like that question. Cheeky. Yeah, because I know people, they were like stoked over the presentation, but it's like you realize you just saw a bunch of CG trailers with no fucking release dates. So maybe they are more excited by flash and pan than actual substance.
That's what I'm saying, man. Just flash people. Put some flashing lights in front of people, and they'll forget the fact that they didn't really see any announcement. There's a game coming, but everything else you don't know about. Yeah. So,
thank you, Mobbits. He has Capcom's tomorrow too. All right, so I guess I'm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, we're probably gonna see some Monster Hunter. Maybe
Monster Hunter.
Maybe that.
Oh
Street Fighter.
No. You know what I want?
Bionic Commando.
Give me Resident Evil. Give me some
Resident Evil 1 remake, yeah, right?
Resident Evil.
Give me some news.
Oh, you know what I started playing? Resident Evil 3.
Oh, remake,
remake. Yeah, I just started that one. That was pretty good. So far, so good.
Yeah.
It's beautiful looking game.
Yeah,
I was disappointed in that one.
Yeah, I know a lot of people.
It's a very on the rails type of game.
Yeah, but yeah, I think
it didn't have the choices.
Yeah, no, I didn't. But yeah, I think more gamers, seem to be just wowed by the pretty. All right.
It reminds me of when we talked about this before back in the day with the old the non-Nintendo games that we would go to the rental store and they would just have all these pretty artwork on the back and no gameplay. And we're like, oh, this looks amazing. And then you play it and it's
tricked.
My favorite ones are the ones where they had the really cool artwork and they didn't bother to show you what the game actually looked like on the back.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, case in point with this was a Diablo trailer. The Diablo does not look at all like that. It's a top-down asymmetrical game, and you see all this drama with the close-up shot, seeing the pores on the characters. Like, you don't see that when you're playing this one.
It's ridiculous.
That's not what this game is.
Yeah. All right, man. Another one here, Alpha Chuck. What is Microsoft's strategy regarding when titles are revealed, and is it working? There are multiple titles I was looking forward to that were shown, but multiple examples of vague release windows or no dates at all. Why show Fable 2 years in a row only to reveal it will likely has a year until release? Avowed and Shattered Space still only say 2024. Avowed actually has a release date now. In June. How confident are they in these dates if they are halfway through the year? Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of, we talked about it, we got a lot of vague dates, So it's disappointing.
I think if anything, it's just to show, hey, this is all coming day one, Game Pass. So long-term planning, if you are on the fence about getting this, because there's maybe one or two games that you want to play in Game Pass, just know that all this other shit that we're showing you is coming on eventually, and it will be on there. Yeah. So we're making these things. It's not rumor anymore. Yeah, there is a Fable that's happening. So if you're interested in that, it's coming. Yeah, we're working on it. That's all I'm thinking, that it's one of those, because it's, again, their strategy is subscriptions. That's it.
That's what they want. Yeah.
They just want subs.
Yeah. The other question he has is, will 2025 be one of the best years in gaming? GTA 6, Monster Hunter Wild, Civilization 7, and Doom, just to name a few. Plenty of high-profile releases on top of smaller games for nearly every genre. Yeah, I mean, these games come out when they claim 2025 should be pretty fucking dope.
I thought Doom was the fall, no?
No, it's 2025, yeah. Yeah, so yeah.
That we saw that 2024.
Remember, we said, 2022 is going to be a dope year. All those games got fucking delayed until 2023. 2023 was better. It was probably the best year we had in this dumbass generation so far. But yes, 2025 should be good. We should be eating. Finally. Fucking like 6 years after the fact, you know? Tumeke, with Astrobot and Lego Horizon, is PlayStation finally trying to reach the more family-friendly market that Nintendo has largely had to itself? Here's the thing. PlayStation used to have those type of games. Then they kind of abandoned. Remember, they had Ratchet & Clank, they had Sly Cooper, they had Jack and Daxter. They had these type of games. And among others, there's even more I could name, Little Big Planet, all this stuff. But yeah, they've largely abandoned those. So maybe it's a little bit of a return to form, but we don't know. But it is good to have more diversity, and I mean it in the actual dictionary term, not the social justice version of the word diversity. Yeah, we'll see. Good stuff. All right, Alpha Chuck. Is Jeff Keighley charging too much for airtime at Summer Game Fest? It costs $250,000 for just 1 minute spotlight and over $500,000 for longer. Why would big developers pay $250,000 for a minute of airtime when they could just host their own event? Isn't this just repeating the mistakes of E3? Isn't that interesting? It kind of is.
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of is.
Jeff Keighley. Excuse me?
You think about it, like, I mean, what he is doing is he's leveraging the time, because officially what it is it's not the fact that you're, it's like you're buying ad space.
Yeah.
And that's the way this is exactly what we told you about all of this. It is probably the most successful ad block that has ever existed.
Yep. Because
people willingly watch it. So he being that he knows that can guarantee a certain amount of viewership on their titles. That's why they'll be okay. We're going to be paying off these things. And I'm going to say this. You notice that they did say that they they specially selected these specific people, these specific creators to put on the show. How much do you want to bet that they weren't fully doing it out of the goodness of their heart? They were doing it because they couldn't fill up the ad time.
Yeah.
Because what is that sort of those numbers mean? That means that you have a lot of those people that are whales, like the big studios, will pay that money to be in a specific slot to have a trailer of a certain length.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So,
it's just funny.
So I don't believe for one fucking second that out of the goodness of his heart that he just gave these people these slots, or they pay. I know an indie studio ain't gonna pay $250,000, which is probably the amount of money that they don't have that money to even do anything like that. So I'm thinking he has a bunch of ones that he'll probably go to his Day of the Devs people or something like that. Like, oh man, I got all these holes. Let's look through a couple of these indie developers and see what we could put in there to make it seem like we have a lot more than what we got. And there you go.
Yeah, no, you're right. All right, and the last question of the night of this epic show is from Mr. Lego Bro. Summer Game Fest has not been a good replacement for E3. What can Jeff Keighley do to make it better? I fell asleep watching it. I don't know what he can do, to be honest.
I don't know. I mean,
you go first, and I want to hear Rich's also. He's actually out there. Actually, you know what? Let's start Rich first. Rich, what's been your experience out there, and how do you think it could be improved?
Well, first and foremost, if we are comparing Summer Game Fest to E3, in my personal opinion, after being at Summer Game Fest for the last 2 years, this is a far more relaxed experience compared to E3. When we talk about the presentation, yes, the show always has issues, and there are ways that things they can do to improve the actual presentation. But for somebody who was just watching the presentation and they're not here, they're not a part of what it means to be at this event, you're definitely going to have a different experience. And obviously, the Summer Games Fest Play Days, that is a media and content creator only event. So anybody who is in the public that tries to get into that event, they're not going to let them in that event. But when you go to that event, you have the same situation where you have demos, you're able to see stuff behind closed doors. You have the experience of being there for the entire day. And you get to see developers, talk to developers, creators, other people that have worked on games. And of course, you have the community aspect of it. Similar to what made E3 so great is when I got to see you guys and all other coalition people at the event, because that was the one time of the year that I got a chance to see everybody that I actually talk with and work with on a regular basis. So that's why I say it's a lot more to the experience than just the show itself. It's about the people, the connections that you make, and then spending time hanging out with people. I made a lot of business contacts while I've been out here, spending good time with our boy Hip Hop Gamer, so on and so forth. So I would say I definitely have a different perspective, but I definitely agree. If you're talking about just the presentation itself, that always can improve. And I think what it boils down to is Jeff finally looking at and realizing, listening to the feedback. He needs to listen to the feedback people are giving him about these conferences. I saw that the conference that we just had a couple of days, when he did the poll for it, it got graded a D. That's what the majority of the people voted in that poll was a D. So we will see if he listens to that feedback and decides to make changes. Oh yeah, he probably won't. Because the funny thing is, when he did a poll for the Xbox conference, they obviously rated that higher. So yeah, but obviously, obviously when you look at just the presentation itself, things can always improve. A part of the E3 experience was watching the presentations, but the experience of being at the presentation is a completely different vibe, because you're around a lot of other people that are also gamers that enjoy this type of stuff. And then you just have random conversations about, well, did you like this? Oh, what outlet are you writing for? It's just a different vibe. So I don't really think it's, but I do think it is a lot better, because it's not really crazy with you having to rush to all these different appointments. It's a lot more laid back and relaxed versus E3 when you're in the actual, the location, the convention center, having to run to an appointment that is all the way on the other side of the convention center. That was aggravating. So
it's also it's like going to a professional sporting event or something. When you can watch it on TV, but when you're there and you're feeling the crowd and you're getting into it, it's a different vibe. So when you're there in the auditorium and you're watching this with a bunch of other people, seeing it on a huge screen, then it's a better experience.
Yeah, but that's interesting, Rich. You said it's a more relaxed vibe, because you're right. I remember the last time I was at E3 was 2018. The first day, like a dumbass, I was like, yeah, I'll find time to eat. I didn't eat until 6 o'clock that night. Like I was busy running around like crazy. Thankfully, our friend Valerie Turpin, PR, she gave me a cookie when I went to go see one of the appointments and shit. But I went to Smashburger, Rich, man. I ordered like double of what I normally got. Because I usually just get burger and fries and a drink. I'm like, get 2 of those, double fries, double burger, and I ate all that shit.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah.
And by the way, since you mentioned food, let me also mention this. They have food trucks at the actual event. And it's various types of food. I actually had some salmon earlier today with some vegetables and some rice. That was one of the
food truck.
Healthy living out there. It's LA, man. They're all conscious.
Well, no, man, like food trucks are a thing, but like, like back in the day on the old E3, the food trucks used to be in that center area.
Yeah, that's right. You had to wait forever on those fucking lines. You know?
Because there was only like 4 or 5 trucks over there. There wasn't a lot.
Yeah. I remember this one time I was on the line and I realized the guy like behind me he's a Call of Duty developer, and I had to ask him. I was like, "How does it feel like working on these games, putting all this effort into Call of Duty, and then nobody's placed a fucking campaign?" And he was like, "Yeah, we get frustrated by that." He admitted it. You know, he was like, "Yeah, it's frustrating. We put so much work into the campaigns and nobody plays it."
That's the sort of thing that I miss about an E3.
Yeah.
You know, obviously me being an industry guy now, I've been an industry guy for quite a while now. You know, being able to go there, not only being able to make business with different studios that over there, meet the people that know behind the scenes, and then also get to know some new people. Like, there's no ego with a lot of developers. You could hit up because you're all in the same industry. You're walking around. You could, if you see, Tony one time, remember with Dennis Dyack? Remember you talked to him one time? And, we talked with Larry, Larry Herb.
Larry Herb, we talked
him
a bunch of
times.
chats, yeah.
So talk a lot of times, like, just no ego, just like, oh yeah, hey, shoot the shit. That was the way it was. And I think that's the one thing I do miss about it being an industry show, just being able to go and being able to talk to the people behind the scenes and get their perspective on these things, obviously, and just to talk, just talk business and stuff like that. That's, then not to mention, me seeing an excuse for us all to be there. Right. Mm-hmm. Just to see, see the Coalition crew, see hip hop screaming his head off, spin
the belt, spin the belt. He got Phil Spencer to spin the belt this year. You saw the video?
He got Denzel Washington to spin the belt.
He did get Denzel Washington.
So, but just to be there and to do that, and I wish Adam got to see it before E3 decided to go up in flames.
Well, maybe Summer Game Fest could fill that void, but yeah, next year I'm gonna.
I don't know. I feel like Summer Game Fest is just going to keep it to the industry folks, right?
Yeah, they might.
It's just going to be.
Well, Adam's in the industry. He still writes for the Coalition,
Yeah,
they are going to keep it to the industry folk, but there's also another event that I heard about while I was out here. Is IGN has their own event now, and that's just for fans.
Yeah,
that was happening at the same time. I didn't know where it was at.
Yeah, Carlos's best friend John Christ was out there talking about that.
Oh, shout out to John Christ, man. Do you have a Stadia representation?
Yeah, I don't know, but he was very much an Xbox guy out there. But I could tell industry stories forever. But we're gonna have to start wrapping up because we had 3 hours, and my headset's been telling me low battery for like 2 hours. All right, so wrapping up, Adam, it was fantastic having you back on Throwdown.
Yeah,
you already know.
You passed the audition.
Yeah, you passed the audition.
There we go.
Hopefully, we'll have you back whenever you're free.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. I'm just glad.
The fans loved it.
Yeah, it's good. Cool.
Yeah, I think J Shep threw like a little shade at the rest of us. He's like, yeah, when Adam's here, the energy's up because you're really enthusiastic about this shit. Half of us here are fucking jaded already. I'm like, fuck gaming now. I'm like my enthusiasm for gaming is at an all-time low. So it's good to have you here, to balance it out, man. But yeah, it's good stuff, man. Rich, what is going on with the Coalition, man? I know you got a lot of stuff coming up this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a very busy week. I would say probably very busy for the next couple of weeks because I'm working on a couple of different things. There's quite a bit of things that I've played. I'm still playing some stuff tomorrow.
And DA.
And there are a ton of embargoes. Yes, a ton of embargoes. But yeah, I would say stay tuned because you're going to see a lot of content in the next week to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And beyond that.
And obviously on Thursday, when some of these embargoes have already lifted, we could speak about that. And also, Rich, obviously, Capcom, Ubisoft, among others. So we will have a lot of things to discuss when you return on Thursday, It'll be good. Oh, by the way, Adam, you know what I like? You know, before it's like, does anybody have anything to plug? Now, since we all our stuff that was plugged was for the coalition, I just go, Rich, what's going on with the coalition? Like, that's it. I don't have to ask, like, who does anybody have anything to plug? Just go, Rich, what's going on? Yeah, it's great, man. All right, let's wrap it up for this extra size episode of Throwdown. So make sure you follow us on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversation, the rumors are always popping. This week has been very interesting with the Discord show. Shout out to the fans there. And again, we are back on YouTube. I should stop saying that. We've been back for like fucking 7 months now. Anyway, hit like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we go live every Thursday and Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, or random streams like the one we did at 1 p.m. Shout out to David Giltonen, by the way, who joined us, and we'll definitely have him back on for other live streams. Maybe Tokyo Game Show. I know Gamescom's coming, so we'll see what happens. Shout out to you, foolish pupil. He goes, great show. This is what we do on Throwdown. Sometimes we give you those 3-hour shows, man. Anyway, Throwdown. We're on every podcast app on the planet. Throwdown Show. That's 2 words. Throwdown Show. And, of course, throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Adam Vale.
Have a good week, everybody.
Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good week, everybody.
And Brian Manjoma.
Rest in peace, BioWare.
I even read about that fucking game. Fuck fail guard, man. Trash. We're apparently going to get 15-minute gameplay. We'll see about that because people are like, oh, Tony, you got to wait for the gameplay. Did you see that trash-ass trailer? Like, what the fuck is going on? Why does everything have to be this Josh Whedon bullshit?
I hate it. Everybody's too damn happy in these games. They're not supposed to be so hard.
That's not Dragon Age, man. It's supposed to be fucking dark and brutal.
That's not Dragon Age, and it's definitely not
Dragon's Age. I want to play Dragon's Age instead. Dragon Age was the most gas multiplayer trailer I've seen. Yeah, it really looks like fucking a hero shooter now. What are we doing a Dragon Age, man? So I will definitely be ranting about that on Thursday after we see everything. 'Cause this week they're gonna stagger stuff. Like every single day they're gonna be revealing more Dragon Age shit. So we'll see. I hope I'm fucking wrong, but either way, that trailer is a bad look. That's the first world premiere that we got a Dragon Age, and that's what we get. Are you fucking kidding me? So we're gonna talk about that game for sure. Anyway, we'll see you on Thursday. Later.
Peace.